Morning, Lexiats, Raptor Freak here. Tuesday morning after wow, what a crazy overtime game against Boston last night. We got a lot to talk about this morning, guys. Really disappointed and unhappy with the game last night myself. I hated that game so much last night. If there's one thing about last night, we know that Callie's stress meter was off the charts because my stress meter was off the charts last night. I was so uncomfortable during that whole game. I was pissed off. I was angry. I was like Nick Nurse. We saw Nick Nurse. He said after the game, I what did he say exactly? He said, that wasn't fun. That wasn't fun. This game wasn't fun to watch. We thought it could be a very fun game. For being a win over the Celtics in overtime, that was not a fun game. It should have been a fun game with that outcome and everything happening, but it was not a fun game in any kind of sense of it. And I was really thinking, like, after the stream yesterday, we had a commenter come in here, and Tom Duke and I were taking him on left and right, pow, with all these stupid things this person was saying because of how many injuries they had. They're saying we were basically going to be playing a G League team. And I'm like, that's really putting down the Celtics that are still healthy, that are going to be involved. But I think this was a little bit of a rope-a-dope strategy by this Celtics fan to make us take this team lightly. Because I'm telling you what, Udoka kind of outcoached Nick Nurse last night. He had a really good game plan for how he came about with the game, with the personnel that he had, and they messed us up. They did not allow us to do anything on offense that we really like to do. We looked really bad on offense at times, and it was basically just Pascal that was able to do anything at stretches and stuff. And that was really a good coaching job by Udoka. And I hate that. I hate that. We should have so many things to feel good about today, but today it's like almost like, yeah, it's in some ways a hollow victory, but also a really good moral victory for Boston on the other side, that they were able to do what they were able to do without those guys there. I'm going to tell you what, if they had Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum last night, they might have won this game for sure. I think they might have won this game for sure, and that's their folly. We had guys that showed up that were hurt with their knee and hurt in different ways, and they made it, and they showed up, and they made a factor in it. OG's got a broken finger. Gary Trent and Fred VanVleet are definitely not 100%, and that may have been part of the factor also there. But, oh, my gosh, we know part of the reason why Boston did so well last night, and it was those other three teammates that were out there helping them. I did the ref report yesterday, and I ranked them an A for possible fairness, and I have to amend my grade coming out of the game last night to a D-. I would have failed them if we had lost the game. They would not even get a D- because that refereeing was horrible last night. In fact, it made me take every single ounce of good faith that had been building in the last couple of weeks about the referees are on the up and up and they're doing well, just to see how they treat Boston in particular. And you have to start thinking about Boston's record. How much is it enhanced by this kind of manipulation in games by the referees? Like, how many teams during the course of this season face that kind of inconsistency at both ends of the court, and instead of being like the Raptors and persevering and going through it and trying to beat them no matter what, other teams just rolled over and died and let that inconsistency take them out of their game, and they lost the game that way. I have to wonder how enhanced the Boston Celtics schedule and their record has been by referees helping them. Because if there's one thing I've noticed, there are certain teams that are always getting this kind of inconsistency in their favor. And we've seen it at least in the 4 games we played Boston this season. We saw it 3 out of the 4 games. The 2 losses and last night, and not the first game we played against them, the second game of the season, that the calls were fair then for the most part. But those other 3 games definitely completely slanted towards the Celtics. All right, let's get right into it. You guys have a lot to say, and there's a lot of you here already, and I love this. We got a lot to say. Paul B saying so fucking stressful. Yes. I was like, Callie, I know I see you next. Forget about Callie's stress meter. Everybody's stress meter is going crazy last night. It was like if we were a bunch of thermometers, we all busted. It's like that stress meter went, it just broke because it was so stressful, so stressful. We did not need to come out and have it so close. Like, we were supposed to beat the shit out of them because of who they had for their roster. And the fact that they were leading for a good part of the game and that different stuff like was going so well for them, it really didn't make this game fun. It really messed it up in so many kinds of ways, because I was hoping we were going to just kick their ass with who they were bringing to the court last night. But no, they had an extra 3 players, and their names were David Guthrie, Mitchell Irvin, and Evan Scott. And in particular, Evan Scott, oh my gosh, I'm going to talk about Evan Scott today, Nick Nurse, and what was happening last night. And I'll give you a little bit more insight about what was happening. Really seriously crazy stuff. Oh, Callie, good morning. It was, if any was a game that should be called Callie's Stress Meter, this was the game last night. This is Callie's Stress Meter's signature game, the Boston game last night. Good morning. Same. I was pissed off. The refs. Oh my gosh, the refs. Callie, listen, they all have good winning percentage for the Raptors over time, and we kept to it. We kept that winning percentage on these refs, but these refs were directed by the NBA head office. It is very, very obvious to call in the favor of the Boston Celtics. At one end of the court, they could play with a certain amount of physicality on defense that Peyton Pritchard, the way he was fucking playing, the way he was fouling our guys almost every single time down the court, that he got his second foul in the fourth quarter. That is fucked up. And that is so fucked up. And then the fucking way that we had 2 of our most important players get fouled out by the end of the game, this shows the inconsistency at both ends. They were calling touch fouls on our end, these phantom and ones, as Jack calls them. These calls would make it for dramatics. Ooh, yeah, he barely touched him on the arm. And one, give him the free throw. That bullshit. And we don't even get the ones that we really do deserve at the other end, because, you know, they're playing through contact. They're making the calls, but they don't get and ones at our end the way that they were getting them for touches. And I'm telling you, the physicality that Boston was allowed to play on the defensive end was a way that maybe the NBA is like, well, they don't have Tatum and Brown. We got to make it more equal. So we're going to do it this way with our fucked up calls. And it was a huge, huge factor in the game last night. The referees were a huge factor. They kept Boston on top in this game, and we're really trying to help them win this game. But thank God our guys persevered. I was like, if we had lost this game last night, I would have been so pissed off. And I'm so happy that they got the job done. And in the end, we did get the W. We did knock them out of the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're number 4 this morning now. After one night of being up there, they're number 4, and we ended their win streak. So we did a lot of really good things last night. Plus, we kept where we're supposed to be in the playoff seeding, above Cleveland, who won last night also. So we kept that good margin above them. And now we're equal and tied with Chicago. And they have the tiebreaker, so they're still in 5th. But if we get some things, like we got to beat Minnesota now, obviously tomorrow night. But, you know, we can get above Chicago next, and we will hold that 5th seed. We're doing it right. We're just going through the adversity, and the adversity pisses us off. Oh, my gosh, does it? Oh, my gosh, Callie, totally with you. All right, let's see. Paul B's here. I had to quit watching and go back to work down 4 with 50 seconds left. I was bummed and then elated when panicking. What a game. Paul, you may have done yourself a service. You may have missed a couple gray hairs not watching that part and just getting the score later, because it did not get any less stressful in the overtime. And, you know, and all that kind of stuff that was happening. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm just really glad that we got that W. Honestly, that's what we need to keep telling ourselves this morning. Even though that was the ugliest fucking game and maybe we feel cheated in some ways, we have to remember it's not how it all goes down. It's who comes out with that W at the end. And that really is what is the most important thing about last night in some ways, even though it does not feel good. That did not feel good. And Celtics fan gets a fucking moral victory with this bullshit. They can say all this kind of crap. Well, if we had our guys, we obviously would have smoked you and that kind of stuff. I hate that. We needed to show dominance over them and stuff like that. The season series is tied 2-2. We are not scheduled to play them again, but there is a good chance we could play them in the playoffs at some point. So, yeah, we are still some time to get some get back against them at some point, and it's especially going to be great if it's in the playoffs. But, yeah, I didn't like how our guys came out flat once again. We came out, we did not look like we were into it or ready, and the other team jumped all over us, and they were very ready, and were kicking our ass earlier. I didn't like that at all. I really have I'm mad at the team in some ways because I don't feel like they played at a certain level that they have been playing, like that Cleveland game last Thursday and this game. And that, that maybe this Indiana game, they can coast against that kind of talent, but they shouldn't have came into this game with the same kind of mentality they did on Saturday. That this team is a different team. This team's been rolling. And just because their most important players are out, they have really good role players, obviously. This is not a G League level team without these starters playing, like this idiot that came in the comments yesterday saying. This is a very good team that's well coached, and they have a good system, a good program, and they are dangerous. They are very dangerous. But I still think we got to keep it all in perspective. Robert Williams being out with a torn meniscus for several weeks at this point late in the season means he's going to miss playoff games, and it's going to super, super hurt them. That maybe for one night, like last night, they can do it with smoke and mirrors and come out there and do some stuff. But hell, we can adjust and we could beat this team easily. I'm telling you, in some ways, if it's the way it was last night, for sure. And even like I like to say, well, what if Jaylen Brown had showed up and played? At least just him. Well, we would have adjusted and we would have played at a higher level. I think we would have beat them with Brown and Tatum also. It's just that our level of coming into the game would have been different. We would have had a different preparation. And the other thing you got to say about Tatum and Brown is when they do play, sometimes they loaf. They're high usage guys with a lot of minutes. And in some ways, they may have made their defense a little bit less intense because they are playing so much. And they're the kind of guys who'll think, oh, I can let this play go by and they can score, but I'll make sure I get it at the other end offensively kind of mentality. And maybe, they were much better defensively last night with guys that were really hungry off the bench, eager to prove stuff, eager to be like next man up and play as hard as they can. And that they really showed it last night. And I underestimated the Boston defense to a degree, but also a lot of it is really cheap, ugly physicality, some ways similar to what we're doing, but there's a lot of that in it, that they are fouling, and the refs look the other way for Boston. They really, really do look the other way for them. They're fouling left and right. They're hitting our guys. Marcus Smart is a really dirty player. He was doing dirty shit last night. And I hate that dude. Like, there was things about last night that I really hated about him. Oh my gosh. All right, let's keep going. Click 2 a.m. One of the most annoying NBA games I've ever watched. Yep, that's pretty much up there with me too. This is worse than those Magic and Detroit losses. The refs were blatantly against us. They really were. It's like, come on. I was saying such good things about y'all yesterday, David Guthrie and Mitchell Irvin. And where the fuck was Drake? Drake, you should have come and smooth things over with Mitchell. Come on. And Evan Scott, man, you need to watch out. Listen, I'm going to talk about Evan Scott right now. Evan Scott has only been in the league for like 2 or 3 years as a referee, and he did such a piss poor job last night. If you know you're doing a piss poor job as a referee, when the announcer, the team is calling him out, like, this is not your best night, Evan Scott. He was missing calls left and right. He was a little flabbergasted at different times. And I really like what Nick Nurse was doing. Listen, Nick Nurse is a smart guy. At the beginning of the game, he saw how the refs were calling the game in Boston's favor. He didn't like how it was trending, so he got pissed off early. And one of the smart things he did is he picked the youngest ref on the ref crew, and he really started needling him. He really started getting on him, really starting to tell him, like, because he saw the trend of what was happening with how they were calling it at both ends, and he didn't like it right away. And that's why he got that early technical. And I'm really glad Nick did get that early technical, because that's his chance at trying to turn the tide and maybe get these refs to change. But it was obvious the NBA head office had directed David Guthrie and his crew last night to help the Celtics as much as possible. That there wasn't anything Nick could do. And it sucks because, like, they were really frustrating. Like, the refs were so bad last night and so blatantly helping the Celtics. It was so obvious. It's like, come on, NBA. We are smart as fans. The announcers calling you out on it. The coaches calling you out on it. The fans know what you're fucking doing. The jig is up. You need to start calling it fairly. And you can't enhance the Boston Celtics and their schedule and their record any longer. This is bullshit. I'm sure you've done this consistently for them all season. And it's not just against the Raptors. I'm sure you've done this to other teams in the league. And then They're not like us. They give up, they relent, and they say, oh, we can't beat them and the refs. And that's how the Celtics get a bunch of cheap ass victories. I have to wonder how much their record is enhanced by this kind of treatment by them. I'm telling you right now, I really have to wonder it. All right, let's see. Evelyn's here. Good to see you, Evelyn. Good morning. Yeah, not a fun game. Kind of wild, eh? Very wild, very weird. And what I was saying is, Evan Scott, you need to watch out because they will go back and look at this game and see all the missed calls, all the poor refereeing that you did. You get a referee grade for how you did last night. And if you don't perform in a certain level of performance, you can lose your NBA refereeing job. So, Evan Scott, you better get your shit fucking together. And we can't just say it's like a young ref that's screwing us over because the other guys were doing it too. Guthrie and Irvin were also not looking. They were looking the other way, first of all, on a lot of heavy-handed fouls on our guys getting fouled, going to the basket. And then the other end, they're calling touch shit, like little fucking phantom shit. Just to oh my gosh, the ref manipulation was off the charts last night. And it was very, very apparent. Oh my gosh. Callie says, I kept yelling, get Fred off. You didn't want him out there. He did look really lame, like with his body and stuff. And Pritchard, because he's such a little fireball all over the place, it really was a very stark comparison of how quickly he was moving around and how Fred wasn't moving around. But once again, I like Fred being out there for time management and flow and just veteran savvy. And we saw late in the game, he hit some really important threes. Like he was the one who jump started us to be able to win this game. That if we had not been playing Fred late in the game at that one point where he hit those 2 threes in a row, that was really a jump start for us to say, now we go for getting this game back from them. That they've been leading the whole game, and Fred's like, fuck this shit. I'm going to hit a 3 here, and then I'm going to hit a 3 here, and that's 6 points, and get us going in the right direction. So that was really crucial. But I agree. Like, I wish we had the luxury of what the Celtics did last night with resting their guys that are hurt. We had hurt guys, and they played. They showed up, and that's why we deserved to win that game last night. Our dudes showed up and played hurt. Gary was the same thing. He looked just as bad moving around as Fred did. And I really want these guys to really get better by the end of the season. With some of these lesser opponents we got to play, like Orlando and New York and Houston before the end of the season, I really hope that they get good rest games, that we don't play them a lot of minutes in those games coming out. That, we need them for games like Minnesota and Boston, but for the games like Orlando, New York and New York, although New York is playing really well for nothing all of a sudden, I guess they are playing to try and get in the play-in still. They have a chance because they beat Chicago last night and they've been beating teams and still, I don't understand what the fuck's going on with New York. So by the end of the season, the last game of the season, we may have to watch out for New York, but probably by then they'll be eliminated and maybe they won't be playing at a high level at that point. But yeah, really crazy. Paul B says Fred looks dead out there and not able to get back on defense. He needs to heal. He didn't hurt us too much. Like he was a problem. Like just as far as this is the thing, we see what Fred is normally, and we can tell he's not his normal self right now, and that's what we're worried. But he's deciding to play out there. They're saying that he can play, and in some ways, he was essential and necessary to help us win last night. So yeah, it's tough, and like I don't like he played how many minutes last night? He played 40 minutes last night in an overtime game. That sucks. We wish we could have played him less. And it was weird that we didn't see any Armani Brooks at all last night, especially with Peyton Pritchard being so all over the place and stuff like that. I feel like Brooks could have been a good foil to him in some ways. But Nick Nurse and Udoka both going with a really short rotation, 8-man rotation, and very interesting stuff. And even Chris, he was part of that 8-man rotation, but he only played in the first half. He didn't really get in the end. And yeah, it was really interesting how we played, who we played, and how much, because Thad became very important by the end of the game. Let's keep going. Click2M said Raptors shot less threes, but took more shots than Boston, meaning most points came from the paint or mid-range. There's only Tice only had 1 foul, Williams getting calls like LeBron and two Raptors foul out. Yeah, that right there says a lot. The fact that Scotty fouled out so early, Pascal fouled out, and none of their guys were in any kind of foul trouble. The foul numbers were very not fair for a while. They were like 30-11. They had 11 fouls called on Boston. They tried to make up a bunch of it late by giving them a little bit of fouls then. But yeah, it was bullshit. It was bullshit. We really won down low. It's weird because first of all, Boston out rebounded us last night. That never ever happens. Like they were really good at boxing us out and not letting us get any second chance points. There's something we do really, really well. For the first three quarters, they did that. But then late, they were a little bit not good at it. And Precious and Scotty broke through and they started getting offensive rebounds and putting them back. And that was fantastic. We needed that then. But yeah, that they were really successful. And I credit their coach. Boston's coach did a really good job preparing Boston to keep us off the offensive glass. And they were super successful. But the game was won in the paint. Yes, we did everything down low. We were still dominating them down low, mostly Pascal with a lot of the stuff. We beat them in the points in the paint. And then manufacturing those extra field goal attempts that you're talking about, Click, was all the steals. The steals were super impressive. A lot of steals at midcourt and then running down and 16 fast break points off those steals. Fantastic. That really, really helped us stay in this game and keep us involved in this. You know, the way it started last night with seeing the foul calls, seeing them get out to a big lead, seeing our guys having trouble in the offense, getting to good open shots. And then when they got the open shots, they missed them. And guys were getting to the line. They missed free throws a lot early in the game, but later on they cleaned it up and they started making all their free throws. But yeah, I was like, man, these guys are going to fucking lose to this version of the Boston team. This is not going to be good. And I realized as the game went on, the more that they were leading, I was like, this is going to be a moral victory for Boston no matter what, even if we come back and win this game. And that's why I hated this game. We needed to do what we did to Cleveland on Thursday. We needed to jump out on them and get a double-digit lead and hold it for the whole game and show dominance over the Celtics. And we did not do that. And that's part of the reason why we all hate this game today is that we did not do what we should have done in the situation with the settings. Fan Chung is here. Good morning. Have you heard reports that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown may not be vaccinated and consequently may not be able to play in Toronto? That doesn't make sense, though, because they did come to Toronto for the game earlier in the season. I don't think that's true. They weren't even in the country. You could tell. They didn't show them once on the bench. So I don't even think they crossed the border. I think they stayed in Boston or went to whatever city they're going to next. Yeah, but I don't think that's true because they did come to Toronto earlier in the season for the first game in Toronto. They were here. So, but I didn't think they came across just because they did the same thing that the Warriors did earlier this season. When the Warriors had to come to Toronto, they didn't send Steph or any of those guys, Draymond. They all went straight home from Boston and sent their B team here. And that's kind of what Boston did last night. They sent their B team to play us last night. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're vaxxed. We would have heard about them being not vaxxed. So I don't think those reports are real or right. Click 2 AM saying Neesmith. I want to say Michael Nesmith because of monkeys. Neesmith had the most fouls on the Celtics at 5. We couldn't go 2 possessions without a foul. Yeah, it was so inconsistent that Jack was getting pissed off calling the game. Like Matt was like, Jack wants to get out of this chair and go have a talk. He hasn't coached in how many years? And this motherfucker is getting in his coaching mind, and he wants to get out there and second Nick Nurse with his getting on the refs. It was a very chippy game last night. There was a lot of shit talking left and right. You had Marcus Smart out there talking shit. You had like all kinds of stuff. When Pascal had to take those free throws late just to get us tied, like that was so stressful to me because the way he had been missing free throws early and he had to go up there and hit those 2 to tie it up. And Marcus Smart was right next to him talking so much trash right before he shot those shots. And you know what he's saying? He's saying, you're not going to make these. You're nobody. You're a punk. He's saying shit like that to him. And Pascal came through and he made them. That was a huge free throws. Those 2 free throws that tied it just to get us to overtime. It was just really, really crazy. And yeah, they should have had way more fouls. I'm sorry. Peyton Pritchard shouldn't have had 2 fouls by the time the fourth quarter came around. That motherfucker should have had like 5 fouls like Scotty way earlier in the game. A lot of those guys were playing very physical. Tice, another one, he was somebody who should have probably had fouls way earlier in the game. Yeah, it's fucked up bias. We can see it, and this will be all involved in my ref report. This is fact-finding mission about whether the refs are on the up and up. And last night we found facts that tell us they are not. They are not on the up and up. There's a league mandate on the download telling them to help the Boston Celtics enhance their record. We can tell. I don't know how many times they've done this to other teams in the league also. They've done it to us 3 out of 4 games this season. This favorable shit. One end of the court, the other end is not the same. The inconsistency that Matt Devlin is calling out right now, he said, this is inconsistent. NBA, you guys need to do it fairly. We can tell we're a smarter fan base now. We know what you're fucking doing. Tom Duke is saying, woohoo, that was indeed a good win. We've won 9 of our last 11. Tom, I love you for being positive and talking, bringing the light, saying something like, it is right. We should be celebrating right now instead of feeling so pissed off about what happened last night. We have won 9 of our last 11. We are on a win streak. We did dethrone Boston from being in the number 1 seed for one night. We put them right back down to 4, and we took their win streak and all kinds of stuff. There's very good things that happen from this game right now. So why do we feel so pissed? It's crazy. And I also want to really thank you, Tom, for going into the comments with me yesterday and taking on this idiot that came in here yesterday. We had Boston fan in here talking shit in the comment section of yesterday's preview stream. And it was very, very interesting. He wouldn't even outright say he was a Boston fan, but he was, and he was already like, the thing he did, he came in and he started making excuses for them to lose already. He knew they were going to lose, and he said, well, how can you feel good about losing to a G League level team? Motherfucker, if that was a G League level team, they're going to win the G League championship. Go and play the 905 and see what happens. That team was a good NBA team. Those are good NBA players. Those are not G League level players that, as much as I hate them all, especially those motherfuckers off the bench last night, those 3, I hated all 3 of them. Pritchard, that fucking bullshit I've already talked about. That Cornet guy's a big goon. He was really annoying at different times. And then the Hauser guy. He was just a Johnny in the right spot kind of guy, getting the ball in the right spot, and he's a dead eye. You cannot let Hauser stay open because he will hit his shot. He will hit his shot. Click to him saying, that's not true. Tatum and Brown played in Toronto. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Andrew is here. Good morning, Andrew. Always good to see Andrew. Let me get back. You guys have, oh, wow, you guys have said a lot already. I'm going to have to get going because I do need to make sure I get every single one of you guys' comments. Andrew, let's go. Big win, sort of. How did we almost lose to their bench? Yeah, that's what we're talking about this morning, Andrew. You know, I have not fixed my voice since last Thursday, and part of it is yelling at the TV during these games like last night. Yeah, you know, listen, like I said, I think Coach of the Boston Celtics had a really good game plan. They were executing. They bought into what he was doing. They didn't come in like they were going to be worried. It's weird because they did a rope-a-dope. They made it seem like, yeah, we're going to be real easy. But look, we have a great system, and we want to try our bench guys against a good team like Toronto. Because in the pregame interview, Udoka came out there, and he looked like a defeated man. He looked like a man who was worried. He's like, he just found out his best defensive big is out for maybe a month. And that, yeah, he didn't look happy or confident going in. But I think they rope-a-doped us. I think that they had a really solid game plan, that this was part of the plan all along, and that they were kind of like, yeah, Tatum and Brown aren't going to be here, guys, but you guys get your chance to shine and go out there and do that kind of stuff. So, and then we won't even start about the refs. We're going to talk about that a lot today, Andrew, for the reasons why this happened last night. G saying other fan bases complaining about the Celtics treatment. See, it's not just us. There's other teams this happens to too. There's definitely a huge bias for one particular team in the East. And there's another team in the league that gets it the other way in the West. And we know which one that is. And that's the team that's about to fall out of the play-in because San Antonio's surging and they're only a half game behind the Lakers now. And the Lakers keep losing. Just imagine that is how bad the Lakers are. The Lakers get this Celtics treatment at the other end, and they're still where they are. They're still there with the greatest of all time, according to some idiots, and they're still where they are in their league. They get the same treatment that the Celtics do, the Lakers do, and they're where they are. That is fucking pathetic. That's what I got to say. But yeah, other teams are seeing it too. That's why we need to get with the other teams. Knicks fan, Sixers fan. Let's get with all the other team fans base, and we'll compare notes. And we'll say, well, how did it go with you when you played Boston? And it probably sounds a lot similar what's going on. And it's messed up. The NBA needs to stop fucking treating Boston like a favorite son. I'm sick of this shit. I know there's heritage and there's a history and there's so many championships and there's so many fucking Boston fans everywhere and they're so annoying and irritating that, yeah, they want to make them happy, ooh, and stuff like that. But fuck that shit. Make this league fair. Start calling it consistently. You're going to make a foul at one end, a foul. You make it a foul at the other end. That's what I'm saying, motherfuckers. You're bullshit. Oh my gosh. All right, Click to him saying, when the game finished, the camera was on Siakam, and if you read his lips, he said, that was fucking bullshit. Yeah, I saw that too, Click. It was hilarious. Yeah, I saw Pascal saying that was fucking bullshit. None of those guys felt good after this win last night. It's weird. Like when you beat the Celtics in overtime in a close game, we usually are on cloud nine. We're usually like, yeah, woo, party time. No, there was none of that from that game last night. And in a way, that's maybe kind of good because it was gutsy. We gutted it out. We beat them 8-5. 8-on-5 was what was happening last night. And we still got the win. We got taken care of all of our goals. But boy, what a learning moment. This was a learning moment for Scotty. He had to get fouled out and sit and watch a huge chunk of important part of the game. Maybe he will realize how important it is for him to watch his fouls and to play smarter. I know that's not totally his fault because of what we're talking about, but Scotty, yeah, you have to have that feeling of being on the bench and not being able to be out there because you fouled out and watching from the bench. And that must not have been fun for him. That's a new experience for him because I don't know if there's been a game like this year where he's fouled out and had to watch the team do it without him on the court in crunch time like this. But yeah, it was fucking bullshit. Pascal called it right on the head right there. And I did see that. He did say that right at the end. Oh my gosh. Sue, good morning, Sue. Always good to see you. So glad we got that win. Thank goodness for Pascal. Really, oh my gosh, we need to be lauding this man. He is amazing, badass. And ooh, the reffing. I was beside myself last night. I was yelling at the TV. We all were. I don't think anybody in Toronto wasn't, if they're a Raptor fan, wasn't yelling at the TV. The people at the game were yelling at him, all kinds of stuff. Pascal, yes, I'm glad you said this too, because we really do need to give some flowers to Pascal last night. 40 points. His shooting was 17 of 29. He was the only thing we had going for a while. There was a really weird dichotomy between the two sides. At one point in the second half, we had two players with double digits in the whole entire game. Everybody else was under 10 points, and those two players were Pascal Siakam and Marcus Smart. These were the only two guys that were scoring in abundance on either side, and Pascal was really our only dude that had it going in any kind of way. Precious was having a struggle last night. Gary and Fred, we talked about how they're already running on half a flat tire, and then OG was good. OG actually was good and steady. He did some really fantastic things for him. If I had to give 3 stars to 3 different Raptors last night, it's Pascal, obviously number 1, Thad Young number 2, and OG number 3, because Thad and OG on the down low were really huge for us in all kinds of really intangible ways on the court. I mean, we saw the important things that Thad did late, whether it's a block, hitting some big 3-pointers in really crucial times, and just playing really solid defense, veteran kind of stuff. And, oh, man, like Nick said, that was Thad's best game as a Raptor last night. Very important stuff that he did to help us make sure we won. Oh, my gosh. G saying Raptors took and made more shots and had 14 more points in the paint, but had half the foul calls. They really did. The foul calls were not fair. And, they really helped keep them going. And, I hate these and ones when we see a bare minimum of contact, and they give them an and one. And meanwhile, on the other end, our guys are getting mugged. And there could be an and one maybe on every trip down the court, the way that the defense for Boston plays. It's so fucked up. It is so fucked up. Click 2 AM saying even Aiden Ross, popular Twitch streamer who's currently in Toronto and was at the game, said the refs completely rigged the game. Yeah, it's apparent. You can see this. Sue, let's get that hotline number for the NBA head office. This may be the day that we need to start writing them and telling them we're on to them. We see what you're trying to do to bolster and support and push that Celtics franchise up higher through your refereeing. Yeah, okay, good. Other people are noticing it. Other teams' fan bases are noticing it. We're not crazy. We're not delusional fans that are so homers as Toronto fans that we are seeing it from a biased perspective. Other people are seeing it also in other environments, like this Twitch guy that they're talking about right here. Tom Duke saying, you have got to check out the mashup of you singing Burning Down the House that Jubs did. Oh, shit. Is he taking my. Wait a second. He put me on their remix doing some song. All right, I will check that out. All right, I have to see that, Tom. All right, thanks for bringing that up. G saying on one play, one ref was consoling Smart, arm in his back and everything. Oh my gosh, what? Ah, oh my gosh, man, they should be consoling Pascal for the murder they allow to happen to him all the time out there. Oh my gosh, that makes me mad. Just that comment that G just wrote there. Andrew's saying the refs are out of control lately. Even Steve Kerr lost his cool at the refs last night. Who were they playing? I know the Warriors are on a slide right now. Yeah, they were playing Memphis. Memphis took their spot. Memphis is in second and they're in third now. But yeah, hey, listen, the refs, I don't know what's going on. We obviously know they're going to try and help the Lakers and the Celtics, but maybe they're trying to help the Grizzlies for some reason also. Sue said, I wrote and complained about the refs again. They haven't responded yet, not holding my breath. Sue, keep doing it and give us the info. We'll post it in the comments down below on the stream afterwards. And any Raptor fan who's pissed off about the refereeing will give you that connection, that email, that hotline to call them and tell them just how you feel. It's just like calling your congressman about how you feel about something in the public sphere. You call them and tell them how you feel about how they're treating the Boston Celtics in an extra special, careful way. Oh my gosh. But yeah, we want that info, Sue. If you can give it to me, either message it to me on Facebook or write it in here and I will post it on the link on here. All right, let's keep going. G said Thad got clothesline. I was shocked, and Pascal got the foul right after. Yeah, there was a lot of dirty shit. We saw some of our players laying on the floor trying to recuperate and get up, and nothing called. There's like they didn't even care and shit like that. There was a lot of that last night. I mean, I don't know. I want to talk about specific times, but yeah, Thaddeus took a hard hit. I love after the game though. He said he's fine, his body fine, but it was a very physical game. They were taking it. They were taking it. It was really crazy. Tom Duke said American sports media calling it an impressive loss for the Celtics. Yeah, that's what they wanted to do. They didn't want us to kill them completely, because they really want this narrative of them being a juggernaut. Well, you know what? It won't even be the Raptors that kill this momentum for them. It will be this Robert Williams III injury. They are not going to be winning at the same clip that they have been with him in the lineup. They're going to start losing some of these games going out at the end, like the one they lost last night. And of course, that is part of why the referees help them, is so that the league narrative can be that the Celtics are really gutsy and impressive without their top players. That's the whole reason why they sat them out. It's very, very smart. The Celtics did a scheduled, they knew this was going to probably be a scheduled loss as a second night of a back-to-back, and they lost the center, and they probably made a split the second decision on Sunday night. It's like, all right, we'll sit all of our guys. And this way, if we win, we overachieved and went beyond expectations without our superstars. Or if we lose, we have an excuse. It's a no-lose scenario for the Celtics that they built themselves into for yesterday. And it's fucked up. And the league is going to carry the message that they want, which is, what a great gutsy team. They almost beat the Raptors, but they were shorthanded. Oh my gosh. And that's why I hated it, because we needed to dominate. We needed to come out there and just fucking kick their ass to kill that narrative. But that's part of the reason why the refs were helping them, is to completely keep that narrative alive that Tom Duke is talking about right there, that they wanted to still talk about how impressive they are. But listen, on the reality is, and this is what was telling in that pregame interview with Udoka, is that he knows his team's cooked for the rest of the year, that Robert Williams not being there is essential, and that they're not going to win a championship this year. In fact, that may be the tear and that may be the sadness down low, deep down inside for the Celtics nation right now, is they know that their championship that they thought they were on their way to, without Robert Williams for this month or how many weeks he's going to be out from now, they're fucked. They're not going to win the championship this year. We have a way better chance of winning the championship because we're healthy and good shape, and they have a very essential defensive player that they need to win a championship. And even if he comes back in time to play in the playoffs, there's that whole integration thing, and then hopefully he works or something like that. They're fucked. And that's part of the reason why they're trying to save face and stuff like that. But deep down inside, Celtics Nations knows their chances for a championship this year really got all fucked up when Robert Williams III left the game in the third quarter against the Timberwolves on Sunday night. Oh, yeah. All right. Click 2 a.m. saying Grant Williams was getting calls like he was Giannis or Joel Embiid. Then I see Celtic players complaining about fouls. Excuse me? For you not seeing what happened on the other side? Yeah, like Grant Williams is not an all-star. Did he get to the all-star game like Fred VanVleet this year? No. Is he an all-NBA candidate like Pascal Siakam? No. Is he a Rookie of the Year candidate? No. Is he a pro and an NBA champion like OG Anunoby that's been around for a while? No. Why the fuck is he getting so much respect out there? Grant Williams. Who the fuck is Grant Williams? He's not even the best Williams on your goddamn team. What the fuck is that about? Superstar treatment for a scrub, just a regular role player like Grant Williams. That is exactly right. Click 2 a.m. They treated him like a superstar last night. It was so messed up. Jimmy Pope's here. That game was unacceptable by the standards of a league and a total disrespect to the sport. It really is. It smacks of like that Sacramento Kings, LA Lakers horribleness in the late 2000s when that playoff series that Chris Webber and them got screwed over by the refs and they helped Kobe and Shaq get that win, that victory in that series. They were doing everything to stop the Kings. And you see when that apparatus is in motion with the refs, with the consistency, you see it. It's apparent. It is egregiously a black eye on the sport, and it makes the NBA look so fucking rigged. It makes me start talking about Tim Donaghy. It makes me start talking about Scott Foster gambling on the phones after the game. It makes me start talking about that kind of shit. So you don't want that NBA. You want to look fair, then do it fair so we don't think you're a biased fucking league. You look so biased right now. Oh my gosh, they look so biased. Tom Duke is saying that Thad had his most impactful game. He really did. He was really essential. The fact that we had him come in and step in for Scotty when Scotty fouled out, and he was really, really good. It's just the normal. We always going to have at least one siren during the live stream. Go get that fire, please. And hopefully it's not at the Scotiabank Arena. All right, let's see. Thad was a really good plug-in for Scotty when he fouled out. We didn't miss a beat with defense and different stuff like that, and he was really, really helpful in making huge winning plays and stuff like that. Good job, Thad. He's ingratiating me more and more to him, and the less I see him miss free throws and make dumb mistakes that a vet should make, the better and better it always is. All right, let's keep going. Paul B saying, that being said, I don't need the Celtics in the first round, just anyone else right now. Give me a round not to be stressed. I agree with this completely, Paul. We don't want to play them in the first round. I'd rather get them later in the rounds, even if Robert Williams comes back around and he is playing later, just because that's not the first round you want to have. Nobody wants to play us in the first round. Nobody wants to play Boston in the first round. And it's just too soon. And I think right now where we're sitting, we're playing Milwaukee. If the playoffs started today, we would be playing Milwaukee right now, which is a great matchup. It really is anybody but Boston in the first round, the way the Raptors should be thinking right now. Even, maybe we could play them in the first round. If they don't have Robert Williams that whole series, we could. And that may be actually good in a way. That maybe we do want them in the first round, Paul. Think about it this way, logically. We play them in the first round and Robert Williams isn't back yet. We showed that we just beat them in a close game last night. I think we can beat them even with Tatum and Brown. I'm telling you, when they're out there, they're a different kind of team in some ways. Sure, they're more talented. They have more offense, but they may loaf a little more on the defensive end. And that team for Boston last night was all out on defense. They were giving such a good effort. So specifically Tatum will loaf in different ways because he's playing a lot of minutes and he's a high usage guy and he get tired out there and that kind of stuff. So, but, for stress reasons, right off the bat, that would be very stressful first round, but it would be a real interesting battle. And there's a lot of shit talking going on between Toronto and Boston fans online right now. The Boston fans are like, we'll put you out again. And it's like, it's so close, motherfucker. It really is really close. Just because the NBA is hyping y'all up and making y'all feel like kings of the world and stuff like that, you need to realize the Toronto Raptors are pretty even with you. That if you are going to play us in a 7-game series, you're going to find it's going to be very similar to the bubble. And this time we will get that that win over the whole series. We will get the final series victory because we gave you the one in the bubble. We will make sure it's even if we get another chance at a 7-game series with Boston this year. We will, I promise you. Click 2 a.m. saying Celtics broadcast crew even mentioned it. Most calls were in the Celtics' favor. Pascal was fouled so many times in the paint. He really was. He really was. And that one call where they tried to call the foul on him where Tice, he hit him and then he hit the player next to him. That was fucked up. Like, they shouldn't have been a foul on Pascal. They should have been calling a foul on Tice right away there. There were a couple of plays where Tice was dirty and he pushed like Scotty into another guy and they called a foul on Scotty. That was how he got a couple of his fouls, was Tice was pushing him into another Boston Celtics player, and the ref was calling that contact where Scotty didn't even put the contact into him. He was taking the force from Tice pushing him, and he was going into the other Celtic, and they were calling the foul. And he was like, "What? How would you call a foul? This dude pushed me into him." You know, that shit was happening. That happened at least twice to Scotty, where he got pushed into another guy and got a foul. Oh my gosh, biased refs. Kenny's here. Yep. Totally biased. And if the Celtics broadcast crew is even saying it and talking about it, that's almost like, yeah, we're getting all these calls. Ha ha, you can't do anything about it. Ha ha. You know, that kind of bullshit. G saying Pritchard hacking all night, really annoying, really fucking annoying little fuck with his fucking in there stuff. There's no way that he had how many fouls? Let me see how many fouls this motherfucker ended up with at the end of the night. He ended up with only 2 fouls in the whole game last night. A whole game and in overtime, that motherfucker only had 2 fouls. There's no goddamn way that dude only committed 2 fouls in that whole entire game. That is a travesty right there. You just look at Pritchard and how many fouls he got and how active and aggressive he was in there and the way he was fouling Fred when he was trying to bring the ball up the court and all that kind of stuff. Oh my gosh. Sue saying, in the U.S. media last night, more brutal than usual. There were no kudos for us winning. They just kept talking about how impressive of a loss for the Celtics. Crazy. That was part of the reason why I didn't want it to be this way either. My title for yesterday was, let's show the NBA how good we are. And we didn't accomplish that. We won the game, but now they're still spinning the narrative like what you're saying there, Sue. And that's what I didn't want. I wanted us to come out there, dominate them, so they had to give us our respect. So they had to talk about, well, the Raptors just knocked off the Celtics. And I hate that. That's part of the reason why I hated the game last night, is because I knew that the media machine down there was going to spin it exactly what we're saying now this morning. Kenny saying we need to shoot better to remove the refs from the equation. We just need to play better in general. Shooting better is definitely a big part of it from last night. We were not sharp. We did not play as well as we normally play. We had defensive breakdowns that allowed them to get easy baskets a lot of times. They were killing us with the physicality on the rebounding in different ways. And also, they really stymied and stopped most of our secondary scores. The only guy who was going really good and smooth was Pascal, and we had to rely on him way too much last night. To have him being in such foul trouble, it was really looking dire because he's at 4 fouls. And he said after the game, he didn't even realize he had 5 fouls when he had 5 fouls. He thought he was still at 4 fouls. And he was playing out there like he had 4 fouls still when he had 5 fouls. And that's crazy stuff. Like, if he's our only bread and butter guy who's able to score consistently in the game, and they're putting him in foul trouble, and he's gone all of a sudden at the end of the game in a close game where it's clutch, that's fucked up. That is really fucked up and very dangerous. And that was crazy when they had that one call near the end, and they were like going to call it on OG, but then they reversed it and they did foul out Pascal. It's so, oh my gosh, so messed up in so many different ways. But yeah, Kenny, I agree. We got to play better. We didn't play good enough. And we know that we have to overcome this shit. This is why we're badasses. This is why we're not other teams in the league. Will they get the bias from the refs in the Celtics game and they roll over and die and let the team beat them? No, we don't do that. We keep fighting. We take on the 8-man team that's playing against us with 5 guys, and we still fucking win. And that's why we're badasses. So they don't want to give us flowers on US TV this morning. We'll give ourselves our own flowers, because that was a gutsy win in some ways. And sure, we hated it, and sure, we are stressed out, and we fucking not really that happy about it, but we need to give ourselves flowers because we did persevere and we did ultimately achieve the goals we set out to get last night. We did, actually. It's just it didn't feel good the way it happened. Oh my gosh. Marlon Toby, good morning. Always good to see your name here. Spicy Pete worked his ass off with not much help. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, he really did. And it's not that our guys didn't want to help him. It's just we were really hamstrung in different ways by those referees. I really do like what OG did last night. He was really understated. He was a silent killer last night, 6 of 12 from the field, 2 big 3-pointers. 8 rebounds, 4 of them were offensive. He had our most offensive rebounds last night. He was doing a couple of things where he's tipping the ball back out to guys outside, things like that. 3 assists, 1 steal, just 14 points. It's kind of understated, but if you really looked at what he did last night with the physicality and the defense and stuff like that, he was so essential and important to us. Thank you, OG Anunoby, for being back from the injury list. OG's not back. We don't win the game last night. I'm sorry, we don't. And even with Fred out, we wouldn't win the game last night. We needed Fred. We needed both of them in there. Let's keep going. G saying American media ignores the that Raps were less than 20 games healthy. Yeah, they don't talk about this. We won games where we had guys missing. Like, look at that road trip we just did out west. We didn't have OG that whole time. We were missing Fred at different times in huge stretches this year. Gary, we've missed every single guy on our team at different times. So it's like, listen, every team's going to go through injuries and have games where they're shorthanded, and we've overachieved in those games. Like, we've overcome missing 2 essential core guys in games regularly this year. So they act like that's so impressive what Celtics did, but we've been doing this kind of shit all year also ourselves. So it is what it is. Sue's saying we have had moral victories before too, but honestly, give me a real victory any day, no matter how ugly it is. Just bring on the real victories. Yes. Keep it in perspective. Yeah, they can have a moral victory, but you know what? The stat shows and the standings show this morning who actually won, and it did have a huge impact, and it hurt them. And part of the reason why they have to toot their horn and have a moral victory this morning is they're hurting because they just dropped from number 1 to number 4, and they lost their win streak. They're really, really sad down low about Time Lord. Trust me, they're really sad about it. So they have to toot their horn and be happy about what little they can be happy. In fact, in some ways, it's pathetic. It's very pathetic that they needed the refs to help them. They needed all this to happen. They need to make themselves feel better like this when they had so much stacked up to help them. And all this stuff, it's pathetic. They still fucking lost. So there you go, Celtics fan. That's what I have to say, U.S. media and Celtics fans right now. Y'all still motherfucking lost. Have your moral victory, but we got the W. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She's saying, I just tell Celtics fans we play down to their level and that gets them going. We did, though. We did in some ways. We did not play with the same intensity that we did against Cleveland right from the start last Thursday. We came out there and took them lightly, and I hate that. I hate that. They see here no Tatum, no Brown, no Williams, no Horford, and they're like, okay, we can loaf a little bit. Don't fucking do that, Raptors. You make yourself have to work so much harder later, and you put us in such stressful places at home as fans. Come on, just come out there and pour the syrup on thick early, get that double-digit lead, and keep it for the whole game like you did against Cleveland. Now, I know there was a good crowd in the arena last night, but you guys got to come sooner and earlier. We heard the defense later in the game and in important parts, but if you guys did it like I did it on Thursday with the Cleveland game and started it from possession 1 right away, we hear defensive chants raining down every single time Boston had a game. This game might have had a different energy to it right away. And I hate that. We need to seriously do this, fans. Get out there and start cheering. Don't wait for reasons to cheer. The reason to cheer is you want the team to win. So you need to get out there and make that defensive chant very loud in the arena in the first quarter, in the second quarter, in the third quarter, and not wait till the fourth quarter in overtime. That is too late. You guys need to get loud with that defensive chant right from the start, because I seen the evidence on Thursday. We did that shit right away at the beginning of the game on Thursday, and we poured it on, and we kept that lead the whole game, and it was double digits, and we won that game, and it wasn't as stressful as last night. So fans, do it at least just for the stress level of all the rest of us, for you guys at the game and for us at home. Get that fucking defense chant started right away in the first quarter, right after the jump ball. You need to start doing that because we didn't hear y'all. We didn't hear y'all for 3/4 of the game last night. We heard you for the last quarter in the overtime, but we didn't hear you earlier. And we need you to do that. And I know Monday night's a weird night to go to a game. You got your first day back at work. You're a little maybe like tired because of the weekend and stuff like that. That happens. And it's a lackadaisical crowd in some ways, a Monday night crowd. But you guys really need to bring that energy because it buoys the Raptors on their defensive end. They have a whole other level they get to when they hear everybody yelling defense at them. Just trust me on this. So go in there and do it right, Raptor fans. We need to do it every single game. The Indiana game was like, well, we're going to fucking beat them anyway. I don't care if we had that intensity, but we needed it last night, even though I thought maybe we didn't because the main guys were out. And I was like, well, we can probably get away without the crowd being really into it early. But no, that was a fuck up. The crowd needed to be really into it early, and we took them way too lightly as a crowd and as a team. We needed to be on them right away, and I didn't like that. And that's playing up or down to our competition for sure. And we were playing down to them to a degree. And we can't do that anymore. We have to be businesslike as fans and also as a team. We need to be businesslike. Skills, good to see a great nickname. It's a half nickname of our badass franchise player, all NBA Pascal Siakam. Those refs were told to do what they did by head office. The head of NBA officiating was at the game. You don't call a game like that unless you're told to do so. Big fucking joke. Oh my gosh, Skills, you are singing the same song that I'm singing today. I've been saying this for a couple of years now, that the NBA head office gives directives to their referee crews about how they want them to handle the game. They used to call them, they had bulletin points. And they specifically put shit back in the day, like don't call fouls on LeBron because we don't want him in foul trouble because he's part of our NBA TV imagery. And if he's not in the game, he's in foul trouble, then people aren't getting to see what they want to see. It's as simple as that. Or they could say, yeah, really favor the Celtics in calls to give them a little bit of chance to help them look better in a game that's probably a scheduled loss. And there's a lot of that. And that's very interesting. You said that the head of the NBA officiating was actually in attendance last night. And maybe that actually does make it seem more interesting why Evan Scott was so fucking up. He was so because he was under pressure. He's under pressure because his boss is sitting in the stands. He's got a crazy ass whole group of fans that are yelling at him, and then he's got Nick Nurse all over his ass too. And did you see late in the game that one part where Nick was standing at baseline? He's standing in his coach's spot, and Evan Scott was trying to come by him, and Nick just stood there. He wouldn't get out of his way, and Evan had to kind of do this little like move around him. You could tell there was a lot of like something going on there. And what Nick Nurse is doing is he's a young ref. He can impress on him for things in the future by really getting on his case. And he was really tearing into him early. And what they did is this is what ref crews do. They have the triangle of where they stand around the game and they switch it. They rotated it. And when Nick was really on Evan Scott and Evan Scott was pissed at Nick, they switched it. David Guthrie came over and he started standing over next to where Nick Nurse is. And that was when he gave him the tech. It was like Nick kept going into him after they switched it around. And he's like, tech, you get a tech. And that's when Nick got his tech. And then even after that, they switched it one more time because Guthrie was pissed at him at that point. And they put Mitchell Irvin over on that end of the court at that point. Very interesting to see how they rotated him away from Nick Nurse as they each got pissed off at him. But yeah, it was really fucking egregious what happened last night, Skills. And we're all seeing it and talking about it this morning. Skills is saying even Scott was rubbing Marcus Smart's back and shoulders. Yeah, that's messed up. Evan Scott was rubbing Marcus Smart down. What the fuck is that, Evan Scott? You like Prince? You think he looks kind of like Prince? Here, come here, Prince. Dream, if you will, a picture. He's like, you and I engaged in a kiss. I mean, what the fuck was going on there? You're in your little purple world, Evan Scott, with Marcus Smart, man. No, dude, we don't need you having to like massage the other players and shit like that. What the fuck was going on there? Oh my gosh. Paul B saying that Thaddeus to Scotty for the massive leap jam was beautiful. I can watch those dunks for the rest of his career. Scotty, once again, having a thunderous going right down the lane. I'm going to throw this shit down because I'm just pissed off because of the way this fucking refs are so full of shit kind of dunk. I love that shit. And he has at least one of them every game now. He finds that seam in the lane and he just goes right through it. And it is like a LeBron James freight train. Nobody's going to get in his fucking way when he's doing that. And as the years go by with Scotty's development, he's going to be more and more known for this. Trust me, where people are going to be like, you don't get in Scotty Barnes' way when he's coming to the lane, because he's going to take you. He can go right through you and go right over you, and he will fuck you up by putting you on a poster. Oh yeah, he will. I love that. I love that. But yeah, that was a great dunk. And the passing, and sometimes the passing was pretty good last night. But overall, I didn't think that our guys played enough off of each other. There was way too much holding the ball, waiting around, once again, like letting the clock run too much, not getting engaged into our offense fast enough, letting the Celtics set up, and also just like not efficient, moving the ball around between each other to look for the better, high percentage, easier shots. Like a lot of our shots last night were really difficult and bad. Like they were settling to let Precious and Chris shoot those outside threes and daring them, and they weren't hitting them last night, which is too bad. G saying, yeah, he was rubbing his back after he flopped. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Let them have their bromance. Once again, we got that L still, and maybe the head of officiating's like, you motherfuckers, you let the Raptors win. You bastards. You weren't supposed to let them win. You let them win. Something like that. Maybe they got in trouble for that. Oh my gosh. Duke Rocks is here. Good to see you. I'm more annoyed today than when we played the Lakers. I am too. And we lost that game. We lost that game to the Lakers, and we won this game last night, and we're more annoyed. What does that say about how bad the refs were last night? Oh my gosh. G saying Pascal had to play through so much contact. He's yelling, and one. And like he means it. It is for real. Every time he says and one, I believe him now, because these motherfuckers ain't giving him shit. Raps still need to be better in free throw shooting. Yeah, especially early. I hated that. It may be that they were rattled because they saw that the refs were really unfair. They saw the level of physicality and the punch that Boston came out with their team, and they were rattled. At the beginning, they missed all their free throws very early, and I was like, oh my God, is this going to be this kind of game where we're going to lose a really close game and we missed like 7 free throws from the line? No. Thank God we got the deal done no matter what. We got enough water in the jug to get to the right level to get the W. And that's all that really does ultimately matter. We can be so pissed off this morning in all kinds of ways, but really we got to keep reminding ourselves we're right on track. We still have a win streak. We just put them out of the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and all kinds of good things are happening still. So it's like, we got to take the bitter with the sweet. And there's a lot of sweet too. And we could focus on that too. It's like we're positive Raptor fans, but we're realists, and we got to understand and call out their bullshit when the bullshit comes. But there are a lot of positive things about last night also. So Duke's saying last night's game reminded me when we played the COVID Nets earlier this season. Depleted roster, refs try to balance the game with one-sided calls. Yeah, I think that may be part of what it is. When you have a top Eastern team that they really want to push, like the NBA's, really doing sexual favors to these teams. They do that. They say, well, they don't have their players, so we need to balance it out and make it help. That game you're talking about when Kevin Durant led a bunch of their bench players to a victory over the Raptors, they were definitely helped by the referees in that game. And this is a similar kind of situation. I completely agree, Duke. And that's an interesting thing to bring up, that it is maybe that's part of why they factored it in. Well, they don't have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Well, we want to make it competitive. Well, let's really screw over the Raptors as much as we can, and then it'll be competitive for sure. Skills, another comment. Love to see you here. I don't care about a physical game, but what is borderline players getting injured because of refs allowing so much contact? I have a problem with what's it going to take. One of our players to never be. All right, I know what you're saying. What is going to take for them to start calling some of this physicality? Is it going to take a very serious injury, a tragedy, or some fucked up shit, or something like that? Yeah, I agree with this, because listen, this is a very dangerous, risky thing that they allow the physicality. I like the physicality overall. This season has shown it's a throwback. It's very similar to like 80s, 90s basketball, which I love. That's a good style of basketball, but within reason. It has to be fair. And that's the one thing. If you have one guy that's punching the other guy and they're getting away with it, and the other guy is punching them and they're getting called for everything, that's not fair. And it also tempers how intense we can play on defense. It actually helps their offense when we're getting touch fouls and stuff. We have to lay off of them, and we can't play as into them as they're playing into us. So that is really a really specific way that this kind of ref manipulation helps the other team, is we can't be as aggressive and physical on the defensive end as they can, because of the way the whistle's being called at both ends. And that's fucked up. That is fucked up. And that means that the players have to adjust and play probably in an unfair way. They have to play against something unfair. It's not right. Yeah, and I totally agree with this, Skills. I've been worried about this all season. The level of physicality in the league this year has been off the charts. And this is the way that lots of injuries and things happen in that kind of way. God forbid anything more happen to our roster and our franchise in any kind of way. G's saying Celtics players complained to the refs all game as if the calls were against them. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes, of course, but they have to. It's all politicking. It's all like you got to get them in your favor in different ways. And that's part of the reason why Nick Nurse got those technicals and got on them early is he had to politic really fast early because he saw the way they were going to call it, that they were going to be super, super biased. And he wanted to call them on the bullshit right away and maybe get them to think twice about calling it so biasly for the Celtics. Well, he's unsuccessful. They continue to do it throughout the entire game. And God willing, our players played so good and played well enough to overcome all 8 players on the league, all 8 people on the court other than them, because they were really on the other team, the other 3 referees. They really were. And Skills, I think you're just correct in what you said. Play again. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like even thinking about that kind of stuff, that somebody gets hurt that way. BTOB. Yeah, Saba, I've seen you before. Good to see you again. We don't want calls to favor us. We just want the calls to be fair. That's exactly right. If we foul a team and you call it, we will own up to it. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not like some dirty team fan base that's like, oh, no, that was never a foul if our guys foul people. We will admit when we foul people. It's just we want it down the line. We want it exactly the same way on both ends of the court. And that's not what's happening, NBA. You had your lead official in the crowd last night. Well, he probably saw it and he was like, yes, you are completing the league official's plan. Gargamel. Motherfucker, you fuck. Geez, listen, the secret's out. We know how biased y'all are. You cannot say that you're fair. You cannot lie to Sue when she writes you an email anymore. We know you're unfair. We are calling you out on it. Sue's saying Pascal had no threes in his 40-point night. That is impressive. That is really super impressive because honestly, he wasn't shooting well out there. He missed all 4 of his attempts. But yeah, getting 40 points without a single three, that is really impressive. And, once again, that man only shot 8 free throws last night. How many free throws he should probably gotten last night? He should have gotten way more than 8 free throws, 4 trips to the line. Oh, my gosh, that's way too few free throws for a superstar of that caliber. They're talking a lot about the free throws. There's this feud between Tyronn Lue and Daryl Morey about Embiid and Harden's free throws and how they wouldn't be top scorers if they weren't treated so well by getting free throws. Well, where the fuck are Pascal's free throws? And if he had been getting superstar free throws this whole fucking season, I'll bet he might have been in near the top in scoring leaders for the whole season. Yeah, they take points away from our guy by not giving him the and ones that they give to other players in this league. He needs to start getting them, and they need to start respecting him on the same level as Giannis and LeBron and Jason Tatum and Joel Embiid. Pascal Siakam is in the same class, and he should be getting the same kind of treatment, and he's not. He doesn't even get as good treatment as Grant Williams, and that is fucked up. That is fucked up right there. Oh, my gosh. Tom Duke, thank you for your comment there. Please, if you like what you're hearing here today, as Tom says, please hit that red subscribe button. I'm on my quest for 1,000 subscribers, and y'all are getting me there quicker and quicker every day. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Tom, for the plug. Duke Rock saying someone wrote an article stating the NBA assigns the worst refs to Raptors games because of U.S. national broadcasts. Yeah, I saw this article. What they were really looking at is how much experience the refs have, and that the Raptors end up getting less experienced refs like Evan Scott in their games more often than not. Like the game that we had on Saturday, we did have one young ref, but the game against Cleveland, we had a veteran crew. We had Tony Brothers and Michael Smith and JT Orr. Wow, I remember them. We had Michael Smith, JT Orr, and Tony Brothers against Cleveland. That's a very veteran crew. That's a good crew in the eyes of that study. But these last 2 crews had guys and gals
that were newer refs, like Lauren Holtkamp and Evan Scott. And that's really what that study did. They looked at how many of the newer refs are getting assigned to which teams. And certain teams, they get like really veteran crews, like the one we had last Thursday, all the time. And certain teams don't. And I think that that is true, that the fact that we're not on U.S. broadcast as much is a factor into it in some ways. But that was a very interesting article. It's something that I'll probably look at in reference for my own ref report this summer that I'm putting together. Because it is really good information in that article. So I highly recommend everybody go check it out. I don't know who wrote it or where it's from or anything. Duke, if you find it or you know where it is, put the link in the comments if you could for us, so we can all go look at it ourselves, because it is a really good article. I kind of skimmed over it. I didn't read it as well as I should have. Skills is saying Marcus Smart injured Steph Curry a couple days ago. The refs are allowing it, and now I see why Boston has been on a run like this. The NBA wants it like this. Yeah, they really do. I mean, this is we have golden boy players in the league like LeBron and Luka Doncic. We have golden boy teams that get the favor. And yeah, that was dirty. They really fucked up Golden State. Golden State is done for the playoffs. They're not going to do jack shit with Draymond out so long and Steph being hurt and they're falling and stuff like that. I'm okay with that. That doesn't upset me. And it's weird that Steph's like, yeah, I'm not that upset about it. I don't think it was dirty or anything. He's kind of reinforcing the whole world of the NBA and what is happening without blowing the whistle on it. He's kind of like, yeah, it's fine, because he knows he gets that kind of shit himself and he doesn't want to out it all. But that was fucked up. This is the same kind of shit Grayson Allen, Alex Caruso kind of stuff. Hit jobs where guys get hurt and they're out for a while. And that is bad. That's bad for the league in some ways. So G said the interviewer asked Pascal how it felt to play against two teams. Yeah, that was on point. Nikki Reyes was on point when she asked that question to him at the end of the game. That was really on point, Nikki Reyes. And I love that our renounced team isn't trying to talk down or they know we're intelligent. In the past, when the NBA first started in Toronto, they could gloss over that kind of shit in the broadcasting booth and say, oh no, nothing's happening or anything like that. But no, they know we're too smart now and they acknowledge it. That's why Jack was doing what he was doing in the middle of the game. And that's why Nikki Reyes said that at the end. And, at the end of the game, Nick Nurse is real careful with how he talks in the post-game press conference about the refereeing, because it's a real huge issue. It really is. But I love that Nikki said that she said, how did it feel to play against two teams? It's hilarious. Duke Rock said, on a side note, the Raps shot the ball like crap. This is very true. They've had a lot of open shots they missed. They wouldn't have blown away the Celtics if he made even half of their open looks. They would have. I think they would have beat them pretty handily if they had taken this game more seriously from the start. Like I said, if the crowd and the team had come in with a serious work ethic and saying, we're not going to let them punch us in the face. They punched us in the face and they got out to the jump, and they had to do that. That was the only strategy for them to win the game, is they had to tell them, you guys got to jump all over them and get the lead early. This is the only way we'll win this game, because they know we're the kind of team we can be down early by double digits and come back and surge back up and win a game by the end of the game. And they needed to do that. That was really the coach's plan. It's we need to get out on top right away and keep it as long as we can. And they kept it for a long time, most of the game. And that was really disheartening. I didn't like to see that. We need to get over the hump and really start beating their ass, because it should have been a blowout to a degree. Not like the Indiana game, but at least a 10 to 20 point victory is what I was hoping it should have been last night. And that's what Greg Krescom was saying too. It should have been a double-digit victory. That was his prediction. But it was a 3-point victory in overtime. Thank God. We'll take that too, even. So, but yeah, I think we would have blew them away if we had been hitting more of our open shots. And obviously, if we'd done more better work around the basket with the offensive rebounding and the rebound battle in general, that wouldn't have been close. They had to win the rebound battle to even be in the game this much. So, Click saying at some point, management has to confront the NBA on things like this. It does happen to other teams, but I don't think I've ever seen it as bad when it happens to us. I know for a fact that Masai Ujiri is advocating for us in all kinds of different ways with the NBA head office. And I will bet you money that he already talks about this kind of stuff to them in private in his communication with the league office. And he probably does call them on their shit. I'm going to tell you right now, I'll bet you he does do this already, what you're saying that he's doing. So, and Click saying Masai should create a mixtape with poor officiating and send it out. Silver. I'm sure he does. He probably already does this. They probably do. The open gym guys make it all dramatic and put music behind it. Maybe they put like evil music behind it and they show it in the really high production value and stuff. Here, this is an open gym episode for you, Adam Silver. It's a special episode just for you. And they send it to him and they watch his open gym, the referee manipulation. And then they just show all that shit on it. Wouldn't that be an awesome open gym episode to watch? The Adam Silver rep manipulation open gym with those production values, and you really see it. You see Evan Scott there massaging Marcus Smart and shit like that on it. Hilarious. Click to him saying Celtics fans are delusional. They are to a degree, but also listen, they are kind of what we want to be as a fan base. So diehard, so crazy. We can be delusional too in some ways. Sure, there's nothing wrong with that. They have a great history, a great tradition. They have a lot of different things and things like that, but they've also had really shitty years in the last 20, 30 years. They've had really bad years, really up and down times and stuff like that. And they're very delusional when they're losing also. They could be one of the worst teams in the league and they think they still have a chance. So yeah, there is a lot of delusion with them. But I want to say this. I'd like our fan nation to be more like their fan nation in some ways, not with all the ugliness and just being like petty and comments and stuff like that, but just the dedication and to the team and how they root for them and that kind of stuff. So G saying Raptor Nation YouTube showed the bad calls down the stretch. Yeah. There's a lot of them. I mean, if I was really good at production editing and enjoyed that kind of stuff, maybe I'd make clips like that, but I'm not into that. And I don't know how the copyrights and all that really work with using clips for games and stuff like that. Click to am saying they're blaming us because they were missing players. The Raptors can't control who plays or who doesn't. They just show up. It's the same bullshit. This guy that was in the comment section yesterday sounds like a Raptor fan who's always making a big deal when they beat teams that don't have players playing. They're injured. And he's kind of alluding to 2019 championship. And this is bullshit. That's such bullshit. We cannot control this. Like Click's saying, we can't control that your guys are pussies and they didn't show up. And in fact, maybe if one of your fucking pussy ass players didn't even come to Canada and showed up, you guys might have fucking won last night. If you'd had Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, just one of them, you might have won last night. But these guys pussed out and they didn't show up. Meanwhile, our guys are showing up hurt and playing. You guys could have played last night and that maybe you guys might have won, but you didn't. And you wanted an excuse just in case you lost. You scheduled this loss and you wanted a no-lose scenario. So they said you could say this after we beat you. Oh, we didn't have enough players. Or you just straight up beat us and then feel good because you beat us with a shorthanded team. So Callie's cussing. She took her message back. It's hilarious. But yeah, we can't control who the fuck is going to show up. We can't control that Robert Williams got torn meniscus on Sunday night. This is not on us. We just came in and we took care of business and we got the win. And that's what they really should be talking about, but they won't. They'll poo-poo it. Click 2AM saying when Celtics played Nets with no KD and Kyrie, Celtics fans were happy as fuck and weren't making excuses the other team was missing players. Hypocrisy on another level. Yeah, this is the thing. It's a spin thing. This is a really great way to see how Fox News, CNN, all the different news sites out there spin shit. Celtics Nation spins it whatever way they can. The other team's missing players. What a great win. We're missing players. That's not a good win. Hollow win. You know, it's whatever befits that team nation. And in a way, I'm doing that work for our nation this way. I will admit it. I'm a propagandist. I'm biased. I will spin it any kind of which way that makes it Raptors sound better. But yeah, it's the same shit. It's hypocrisy. At least I try to be fair. I'll give kudos in different ways and stuff like that. But these motherfuckers won't even give us kudos about last night. Fuck you, Boston Celtics. Fuck you, U.S. media. You all fucking can go suck that leprechaun's dick down the alley in Boston somewhere anytime you want. Go fucking do that. Oh, my gosh. Sorry for all the cussing and profanity. But that's what you get here. I mark not for children. And the dog's barking at me again. All right, let's see. Oh, Greg's here. Good to see you, Clink. I heard about your remix. I'm going to go check it out after this. Tom Duke has recommended. Good morning, folks. Has everybody ordered their Marcus Smart jerseys? No, no, we haven't. G saying Raps have been down players all season and no one cares, or the media never mentions it. It's the BS. The bias is obvious. Yes. It's like, listen, we can't win. That's why we just need to keep our heads down and keep going. That's why Nick Nurse says, I don't give a shit if you guys give us credit for anything. I don't give a shit if I win the coach of the year. I don't give a shit if you guys give us credit for winning this game tonight. We won it. And that's all that fucking matters ultimately. So it's like, yeah, we have to give our own flowers. We have to work within our own mindset of what we're trying to accomplish and not give a shit about any of the noise around us, because it's not going to be fair. It's not going to be like, they're not going to put a spotlight on us and talk about how great we are. So we have to go just do it and do it to the point where they have to talk about how good we are. And all of a sudden we got another Larry O'B sitting next to us and they're like, whoa, and they got to recognize. So that's what we got to do. That's why the Raptors dynasty that we're building right now is so important, because we need to get that respect that they will realize that the Raptors are a force year in, year out, and we are a playoff contender and a championship contender for the next 10 years. And we need to make that established more and more as the years go by, coming up soon. Oh, yeah, we do. Let's keep going. Paul B says Marcus Smart and Dragic are on my same top-level hate meter. For me, I can't put somebody up there with Dragic right now. Dragic, I don't know how many other guys I hate LeBron probably the same amount as I hate Goran Dragic. But no, Marcus Smart, I don't hate him as much. To me, he's very harmless most of the time. Like, there's been games this year. Didn't he have a game this season where against us where he scored 0 points? And then they had to rely on him as their best guy last night. He got 28 points last night. Usually he's pretty harmless. He's usually just a thug, really good defensively. But I love seeing Marcus Smart shoot. He's a horrible shooter. Make him high usage. Make him shoot way more shots and stuff like that. That's good. That's a good thing. So I don't hate him. I mean, I kind of respect him for his mentality and the way he is. But yeah, he's annoying. He's definitely annoying. But I really hate Dragic. Yeah, I do hate Dragic. But yeah, that's your meter. Everybody's got their own hate meter, and different people piss different people off different ways. But Dragic and LeBron are probably number 1 and 2 of the players in the league. LeBron's probably number 1 for me, and Dragic is number 2 on my list of really the players I hate in this league. Oh, yeah. CC saying it's all Boston sports fans. All sports in Boston have annoying, rude fans and get refs and officials favoritism. Well, it used to be back in the day that the referees had to really worry about that Boston fan like attacking them. Like physically, they had to have security forces around them coming and leaving the game. This was like Jim Cornette, Midnight Express kind of shit, leaving the wrestling match at the end of the night. You need to watch out for those marks coming at you with knives and guns. And that's why they kept the car in a certain place to get into it and get the fuck out of there real fast. And sometimes they'd be chasing them in the car and they'd be shooting out the window at the fans coming after them still. That's how much the hate was for Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express in the 80s. And that's what happens in Boston with the refs sometimes. Yeah, you think about all those series with the Lakers in the 80s with Larry Bird and stuff like that. Those fans in that time were really scary and dangerous and racist also. We have to talk about this. Boston fans are very racist fan base. Historically, they always have been. And that's part of it also. So, yeah, there's a lot about Boston fans. They're annoying. They're overspoiled, whether they're Red Sox fan, Patriots fan, Bruins fan, Celtics fan. It's the same fan. And they're spoiled and they're assholes. They are assholes. Fucking right, they're assholes. Oh, my God. Paul B saying OG needs to start flipping some of these dudes. Yes, OG, silent strength. Come out there and flip somebody like Dennis Schroeder. Fucking do it. Yeah, it'll be worth it even if you get in trouble for it. We just want to see it just once so the fans can be like, fuck yeah, OG. Yeah, I love that, Paul. Click saying, and one of the worst things that happened, 58 seconds left, Neesmith hits a 3. As Gary goes to contest him, Marcus Smart trips Gary with his foot. No call. Yeah, lots of dirty stuff just off the ball, just kind of in the contact around the play, whether it's the pushing I was talking about with Tice, pushing Scotty into the other player and Scotty getting a foul, shit like that. It's not necessarily the physicality they're doing with the ball, on the ball. It's off the ball. It's off of screens. It's off of trying to do positioning and things like that. They're doing dirty shit all through the game, playing at a super physical thing. And this is the thing. We won the Indiana game. We won the Cleveland game because of our physicality over them. Boston was winning the physicality. physicality last night. And it's evident with the rebound battle and just that kind of shit. Like the way that their defense was able to really hurt us in some ways on one end is because they had a free range to do whatever the fuck they want. And meanwhile, the other end, we breathe on them. We just kind of touch them. We give them a little Evan Scott, little slight massage on the back. Boom, it's a whistle. Shit like that. It's messed up. CC saying the officials were like flashbacks to the bubble BS. Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's never really been different. And it's really specific teams. The Lakers and the Celtics are number 1 and 2 as far as favoritism from the refs. And like I said earlier, the Lakers, just imagine how bad they would be if the refs weren't also helping them out and giving LeBron Golden Boy calls. They wouldn't even be, they'd be eliminated from the playoffs already. They were propped up in some ways this season to help them, and they still failed at left and right. That is how bad they are. And Celtics are a good team, but you see, they get propped up a little bit more than any of the other Eastern Conference teams, and they go on these crazy run. They win like 26 out of their last 30 games and shit like that. Because we don't know how many games in that whole stretch the refs were doing the same shit that they did to us last night to other teams. That is what I'm talking about. Let's see. At Click 2 a.m., Smart was doing the YMCA on that possession. Summer Low, good to see Summer Low, a really informed, great longtime Raptor fan. Celtics bench doing the Jay Crowder dance kind of irked me. There's all kinds of things that irk me, whether it's the massage from Evan Scott, the bullshit on their bench. You know, like I said, I don't think Tatum and Brown even came into the country last night. You know, I was irked by the fans were pissing me off. Like I was saying, they needed to come early with that defense chant right away. Like I had an opportunity to possibly get tickets last night, $300 each, which made it right away. I'm not going. 2 rows behind the Celtics bench, right down near the court. And if I'd gone down there with my 300 level volume, they might have thrown me out of the game because I would have been doing defense right in the ears of all the Celtics bench right behind them. Defense! Like that the whole fucking game. Every time the Celtics had the ball, I would have been doing that shit right behind them in all their ears. And they probably been looking at me and like looking like they want to kill me. And I would have been like, motherfuckers, fuck Boston, defense. I would have done that shit right from the tip. And that's why I was like, all right, do I really want to pay $300 to get ejected from the game? Because I know I will if I go down there and I sit 2 rows behind the visitors bench. Oh, yeah, if I'm that close to the arena, oh, yeah, I will get thrown out because I will be loud and they'll be looking at me. And it's not that I'll be cussing or anything. I'll just be so fucking loud. They'll be like, can we get this guy out of here? I mean, seriously. Yeah, that irked me too. Clink saying at Sue, I love that you wrote the league about the refs. How do you do that? I'm in. Yeah, let's get this information up. Let's be like write your congressman right now, people, and let's get them to know how we're feeling. We want that information, Sue. Please either post it, send me a message. I know we're Facebook friends. Send me that message on Facebook, and I will post the link down here. And everybody who's listening or watching this live stream today that feels strongly about this, let's all make our voices heard to the NBA head office. And that lead official who's sitting in the crowd saying, yes, our plan is coming to fruition. You know, fucking evil motherfuckers. Greg saying, like Spike, there are 27 of us. Hey, listen, I appreciate everybody being here and putting up and listening to my crazy ass talk about this shit. I love the Raptors, and I know y'all do too. And we just need to stay on the same page and just, it's fun. It's the enthusiasm we share here that I love. CC's here. Post the email. All right. Yeah. See, we're got the gumption. Let's do this shit today. This is the day to write the NBA head office and talk about this shit. Tom Duke saying, yes, well done, Sue. I will join your efforts and whine too. Come on, Tom. It's not whining unless you write it in a certain way on there that sounds like Celtics players whining at one end of the court. Yeah. I don't know. If it's like you write in italics or something, I don't know. Sue saying at Greg, I just wrote it above. Did it come through? Last time I tried it on YouTube, it kept blocking it. Okay, I didn't see it, Sue. It might have blocked it. So maybe, like I said, send it to me through the Facebook. You know, you and I are Facebook friends. Send it through Facebook Messenger to me, and I will post it. Make sure I post it later when you give it to me and on the comments for this. So everybody watches it later on today and now will be able to find it easy. Yeah, it might be that YouTube's blocking it. NBA is trying to get all the money they can by helping the two important franchises in the league. Boston and the Lakers are just completely bad, though. But Boston is good, but gets away with a lot of bogus shit. Yeah, click 2 a.m. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, if the NBA was like AEW or WWE and they could book WrestleMania every year, they'd put the Celtics versus the Lakers. This is the matchup. When they got that matchup a few years ago, they were so happy. They're like, ooh, this is our sweet spot. Lakers versus Celtics. Ooh, they just want to fucking reminisce in this bird magic 80s bullshit, this classic battle between these two franchises, and they just want to keep recreating it. So they set up the environment and the settings through their refereeing to try and help these teams get to there as much as possible. So fucked up. Sue said, I will message you privately, Les. Okay, cool. Yeah, please do that, and we will make sure the information gets to everyone. If the Click saying, if the refs were fair last night, Raptors would have won by 10 at least. Even if our players were struggling, we should have shot a lot more free throws. We really should have. We really should have shot more free throws. There's all kinds of different ways they stymied us. And you know what? That is a testament to our fortitude and our never give up and stuff like that. I'm saying, how many teams this year that aren't us gave up when they felt that kind of friction or pushback by the referees in this situation like we did last night? How many teams did that? And how many wins did the Boston Celtics collect because the other team was like, well, fuck it. We can't beat the team and the refs. That kind of shit. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll get the information out, Greg. It'll be up there. She's messaged it to me on Facebook. And you know what? I'll go on Facebook just real quick and I'll get it real quick. And we'll say, I'll read it out since Sue just did that. That's perfect. All right, let me just open up my messenger. Come on. Wake up. Come on, messenger. Facebook is being slow. Anyway, I'll let it set for a second. I'll come back to it. Okay, G saying Smart does the head throw back every time someone gets near him and the refs take the bait. That head throw back, yeah, it's just like a whiplash. That man needs a little collar after the game, the way his neck's whipping around like that. The other play that I found was so dirty was that Grant Williams play underneath the basket where he got right underneath the basket and then he threw his back into Pascal and got a foul on Pascal that way. That is not a foul on Pascal. What the fuck did he do? He's just standing there and the dude lunged back into him and they called a foul on Pascal. That was so fucked up in itself right there. Let's see. Duke Rocks is saying Mobley also injured. Yes, this is a key note. This is really good for our guy, Scotty Roy, that, Mobley's out now, and this may really help Scotty in the stretch run. Obviously, if we continue to stay above Cleveland, if we get Chicago in between us and Cleveland, that is an even better barrier of showing who's the better rookie, who's on a more winning team, who has the better individual stats, who is not hurt and missing the stretch run. And listen, we knew Cleveland is a pretender in the playoffs already. They have both Jared Allen and Evan Mobley out. They're not going to do jack shit in the playoffs. They had so many good aspirations and dreams this season. They had a great season here in Cleveland, but they ain't going to do jack shit in the playoffs. We punched them in the face last Thursday. They're not going to be able to handle that intensity. And now their rookie is out. All of a sudden, the stretch run, that's not good. Cleveland's in a bad place, just like Boston is all of a sudden, because they're both missing their best defensive big guys all of a sudden. Oh, yeah, that's not good for them, Duke. No, not at all. Let's see. Greg saying, roll on the floor laughing. He's not even the best Williams on your team. Well, that's the damn truth. Like, how the fuck is he getting superstar golden boy calls, Grant Williams, and he's not even the best Williams on their team? Shit. Oh, my gosh. It's crazy. Duke Rock saying Robert Williams III is going to have surgery, out for a month minimum. Out for a month minimum. And how many days are there left? There's 10 days left in this NBA season, just about. It's really like just 10 days left. And like, fuck, that's at least the first round, maybe the second round. No Robert Williams. The Celtics aren't doing shit in the postseason. I'm sorry. And it's really, like I said, interesting to see how all these Eastern Conference teams have faltered in different ways. Whereas Miami's infighting, Chicago is really plummeting right now. Now Boston has these really key injury to their best defensive center player. And, I have no faith in Philadelphia. They have James Harden on their team. When has James Harden ever done anything important in the playoffs? Come on, really? Has he won in the playoffs ever? No. He disappears in the playoffs. So it's like it's wide open. It's wide open. And we should be licking our chops as a team that we are in a good position and we are the badasses that can get through this fire and this craziness of this fucking NBA Eastern Conference playoff race. There's no clear-cut juggernaut. There's no clear-cut badass team that everybody's scared part of. Everybody has a weakness and everybody has a chance. Really, we do. I think we have just as good a chance as any of the other top eight Eastern Conference teams. Brooklyn, everybody, all of them. Oh my gosh. Let's keep going. Yeah, Darren's saying, Darren's here. Good to see you, Darren. Jakarta's in the house. Darren's in the house. Woo, woo, woo. Fucking refs. Arg. I love that. I love that. All right, let me see. Let's see. All right, I think I got Sue's message up now. Okay. All right, I'm just going to try and... Okay, she's got the email. It's pretty simple, guys. Adam Silver's email is asilver@nba.com. So let me see if I can type it in here. Let me see if it blocks me. I'll even try it myself. asilver@nba.com. All right, we'll see if that actually went through. See if Yahoo's actually blocking us. And then she also has a phone number. Okay, here's the phone number, 201-864-6069. Okay, so we got a phone number too. Maybe we can make some Jerky Boys calls to them.
Hey, yeah. What are you doing down there at the NBA head office there these days? Yeah. Is Pablo there? Pablo there at the NBA head office? Yeah. What you jackoffs? What are you doing with your refereeing these days, Jerky Boys?
You know, that kind of shit. We can maybe do some prank calls on them. That would be fun. All right, let's keep going. CC saying, just like when the refs fouled out Kalo game 7 in the bubble. Yeah, it is really a strategic thing. The ref manipulation, if they focus on a certain important franchise player on the team they're trying to hurt and get them in foul trouble early, we really have to think about sitting them. And especially egregiously bad when he's the only guy going for our team. And it is somebody like Pascal Siakam. But then on the secondary, they had Scotty in trouble too. But Scotty was kind of making rookie mistakes too in some ways with some of his fouls. But once again, like I said, with that Tice push, that he was getting fouls that were fucked up too. So yeah, that's a very similar situation. What happened to Kyle in the bubble? What you're saying, CC, is a very similar thing with the foul trouble. Andrew's saying Marcus Smart is not king of the North. He's court jester of the North. Yeah, I hated when he said that he was the king of the North after the bubble. See, these are all reasons why this was so important and why Pascal Siakam, that was fucking bullshit, is that these guys still remember the bubble series. They don't want to lose to these jackasses and this bullshit. Fred, OG, Pascal, they have get back to get back, and they got a little bit of it, even if it was felt hollow, and even if it was a moral victory for Boston, we did win, and that does still really matter. Raymond Jacobs here. Good morning, Raymond. Agree, Alex. Our crowd was nuts. I even posted on Reddit about the screaming, cheerleading kids sitting next to Matt and Devlin. Defense. Yeah, I love that little kid. Sometimes that little kid's sitting near them, and you can hear them, and I love that kid. I don't know where you are, kid, but I want to buy you a Toys R Us shopping spree because, kid, you are doing the right thing. I don't hear any adult around you saying defense at those times. I hear you, kid, saying defense, and I love you for it. Thank you, kid. It makes me feel like the future of Raptor fans is so bright. But let's teach these kids young to do the defense chant every single time the other team has the ball, and fantastic stuff will happen. That kid, you are my hero, bro. I don't know who you are, but seriously, I will buy you a Toys R Us shopping spree just like they used to do on Nickelodeon back in the day. I will get you that shopping spree. Yeah, you deserve it, kid. You're number one fan in my book, baby. I love hearing your voice on there. The future is bright for Raptor Nation. Oh, yeah, it is. I love it. BTOB saying at Chris Sports Corner said, last night was a great 3-team game. The Raptors, the Celtics, and the Refs. It really was. It really was a great 3-team game that, we did have to beat 2 teams. Nicky Reyes was right. It was an 8-on-5 matchup, and we did a great job. That's the thing. We're badasses. We're like fucking Andre the Giant in the 70s. They put 3 jobbers out there against him, and he crushed all 3 of them. It's like, there's the refs, there's the NBA head office, and there's the Celtics. And he fucking beats the shit out of him, Andre the Giant. Give us a handicap match. We don't give a shit. We'll win. We'll beat Ken Patera and King Kong Bundy in a 2-on-1 match. We don't give a fucking shit. We'll beat those motherfuckers, John Studd and King Kong Bundy, in a 1-on-2 match. Yeah, we will. We're Andre, bitch. We'll fucking beat you. Yeah, we will. I love them. I got to put my wrestling references in there. Sorry. And you see it's Ted Arcidi, who's from Massachusetts. That's why he's the Boston representative. All right, let's see. Duke Rocks is saying, Magic and Cavs were a close game last night, but since the Magic are tanking, they put in their bench players to close the game. Sounds fishy. Well, there's going to be a little bit of that. That's why they made the play-in, is to stop teams from doing too many teams from doing this. And of course, teams like Indiana and Orlando want to lose right now. Like even that game the other night, we were going to beat Indiana no matter what, because Indiana wants to lose. Orlando wants to lose. Well, I hope Orlando plays the same fucking way when we show up in Orlando later this week, that they want to lose still, because it'd be real fishy if they trying to play and win the game against us when we go to Orlando. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's when I'll think it's fishy, dude, is if Orlando's putting in a real strong effort against us all of a sudden. Yeah, because there was a little bit of that also with the Lakers. The Lakers put a really poor, or no, what team sat? They sat some players against Cleveland. Oh, yeah, it was the Clippers. The Clippers. Tyronn Lue sat like important Clipper players against Cleveland before we played the Clippers and let the Cleveland Cavaliers beat them, and they didn't sit them. Morris and whatchamacallit. It was Morris and their guard that they didn't sit against us, but we beat them anyway. And I thought that was fishy at that time, that the Clippers coach is doing a solid for the Cavs and benching his two most best players at that time for a rest game. And then he has them playing against us in the next game. All right, let's see. Click 2M saying Peyton Pritchard trying so hard to be Kyrie Irving. I don't know what he's trying to be, but I know he is one thing. He's annoying. That's what he is. Greg saying you were spot on about the ball getting stuck. Too much slow ISO. They excelled when they attacked, mismatching quickly and decisively. Use that length. We had so many mismatch opportunities by the rosters and who is out there. Where the fuck were they? Like, where was Scotty Barnes beating people down in the lane? Where was OG bully ball? Where was this stuff? Pascal was finding it against Tice and White when they switched, but then they put Nesmith on him, and he was guarding him really well in the second half. And, that was the only guy who was able to find the mismatches was Pascal. Why couldn't Scotty and OG do this more? I really wanted to see them, or even Precious. Precious should have been getting some more mismatches and that kind of stuff. They seem like they're making things a lot harder on themselves in some ways on their offense, the Raptors sometimes. And that's why I don't think they were playing that well in a lot of ways last night. Their offense wasn't smooth. They were missing open shots. They were missing free throws early. And they just, when they're off the ball, they're not moving enough. And once again, we see maybe they're tired or something. Pascal or Fred just standing there dribbling the ball for like 5 seconds of the shot clock. I'm like, go! Because all you're doing is letting them set and rest themselves. You got to fucking keep going, because there was one play where Pascal brought the ball down the court and he didn't wait at the top of the line. He didn't stop at the three-point line. He kept going and he engaged into the paint, and he had a much better high percentage, easier shot, and he didn't have to work as hard because he kept them on their heels. That's the whole thing. We can't let other teams' defense be set and be ready. We got to come at them quickly down the court. Like when Precious brings the ball down the court real fast, and he's just dribbling right at the basket, or Scotty, that kind of stuff is really good because the other team has no time to get set up. And we weren't doing that enough last night. We weren't aggressive enough putting them on their heels. And that was really part of the reason why Celtics defense was so effective, is we were letting them get too set up. And I hated that, Greg. I hated that. You saw it. I saw it. I don't like that. I want the Raptors to be aggressive and go right at them. Go right at them because they can. Yeah, Jubstown is a Raptor freak. He's one of us. For sure, Lumpy. For sure. My Manitoban brother, Lumpy Rex, new Torontonian. Yeah, Lumpy. He's in the house now. He's in Toronto. He's in the 416. He came from Winnipeg, Manitoba, and now he's with us here in the 416. Love you, Lumpy. All right, let's see. Paul B saying NBA champion, most improved player. Siakam needs to be getting the calls Luka gets going to the paint. Oh, my gosh. Yes, Paul B. Pascal Siakam should be getting the calls just like Luka, just like Giannis, just like LeBron. He is the same caliber kind of scorer, offensive player as those guys. And I hate to say that it has anything to do with our team. It has anything to do with any kind of fucked up bullshit. But the bias against Pascal needs to end, because this man is a top talent. He's going to be showing it more and more night in, night out, and they will not be able to deny him. They will not be able to deny him. You don't give Scotty Barnes a Rookie of the Year. You don't give Pascal Siakam All-NBA or an All-Star this year. You will feel our wrath next year. I will tell you right now, we will come down like a rain of fire on this NBA next year when we will prove to you, you don't want to give us awards, we will make you give us awards next year. Trust me, you will. You will give us our flowers eventually because we will force you to. You will not be able to ignore or deny what the Toronto Raptors are doing very soon. This positionless scheme, this length, this way that we're playing, you will not be able to ignore or deny who we are in the coming years, NBA. So you better get on board as fast as you can and start giving this man respect like Luka Doncic. Oh my gosh, it pisses me off so bad. Dwayne B, good to see you. Nice to see a new name here. The NBA is fixed. Smart as a jackass. Short, succinct, and perfectly honest and right. Yes, the NBA is fixed. It is evident as of last night. I was really hoping I could start saying, NBA, you're looking real fair and on the up and up. And I was starting to sing that tune. But after last night, I have to throw all that shit in the trash because you guys are evidently doing something fishy right now. Oh, yeah. And Smart is a jackass. He totally is a jackass. I was trash talking in this dirty play. Greg's saying, laugh out loud. The suck the leprechaun's dick goal. Can I quote you? Of course. As long as it's an NSFW, not safe for work environment. You know, this is the thing. I had to make that choice every morning when I click that button, not for kids. Am I going to cuss today? Well, I probably am. So I better click this button. I don't want them to be pushing my videos towards youngsters, and they may get a more colorful vocabulary. They may be like the other night, Daddy, who's Ron Jeremy? Who's that? Who's that, Daddy? And like, mind explode. I don't want to have this talk with you right now. You're 6. You know, that kind of stuff going on. Yeah, put me anywhere, Greg. I thank you for promoting me and doing, like, I want to see what you did. Tom said you did some remix of Burning Down the House or something like that. I love that. I want to see this shit. I didn't see it yet, so I'm going to come check it out. Death 4K is saying, good to see a badass name. Death 4K. I ain't fucking with that. No, he has like fire coming down from the sky in his picture. This is badass. We won the battle. Feels like we lost the war because of the refs. Yeah, doesn't it feel like that? It's like, I hate it. They set us up to have a hollow victory no matter what with having their superstars out. And now we just kind of feel pissed off because we see how unfair things are, but we overcame it. We need to celebrate that we overcame it, but we are pissed off today. We definitely are. Death 4K is also saying, did you hear ESPN ranked Celtics to win championship is 30% chance and Raptors have a 2% chance? Whatever. I don't even fucking know how they find these numbers or make this shit up. This is probably some guy who's sitting in an ESPN office. He's got a Celtics thing on his wall and he's jerking. And he's like, he's like Raptors 2%, Celtics 30%. There's no basis to this. I mean, statistically, they cannot come and show me anything in a study that would show anything that would give me evidence for having these numbers in any kind of mathematical, statistical, relevant way. There's no way they can just have these numbers because they're fucking wrong. I'll tell you right now, we have just as good a chance as any of these Eastern teams. They're not going to stay in the U.S. to win this championship. Then nobody in the East is a clear-cut front runner, and it's ripe for the picking for anybody to go fucking take it. And we're the kind of team that will go do that. We will go take it. If it's right there, Fred is going to go take it. He wants to go take it. He will take it. Fred and Pascal and them will take it. They know what they got to do, and they're going to go try and do it. And they ain't fucking around to get second place. They ain't fucking around to go out in the first round. They're going to fucking get the Larry O'Brien. They want Scotty Barnes to be a rookie champion. Yeah, they want him to get that accolade like Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse wins a championship his first year as a coach. Scotty Barnes wants to win a championship as his first year as a player. I'm going to tell you that right now. He doesn't win Rookie of the Year, but he wins the NBA championship. That is going to go way further for his legacy. He's talking about his legacy. Go get that championship, Rook. Oh, yeah, be great. You'll see what happens. Oh, yeah. Death's also saying, Death 4K, I should say the whole name. Brian Windhurst stated that Siakam is a fringe all-star level player and does not deserve all-NBA. Well, Brian Windhurst is a Miami Heat fuck face and all this kind of stuff. These fucks have their favorite teams from when they're kids and they don't leave them. Bill Simmons is a great example of this. These motherfuckers have favoritism all kinds of ways. And the NBA conditions NBA experts and NBA fans to look lesser and down on the Raptors. And as I've said for years, this is a great opportunity outside of sports to see in a very exposed, open way how discrimination and favoritism and privilege and all kinds of things that works in society among individuals and people and groups in the NBA by how they treat or slight the Raptors. I'm telling you, it's a very easy, simple comparison to like things that happen in society to people. in their own lives, where they don't get credit for their hard work. They do everything right and they still get shafted. All this kind of shit happens to everyday citizens everywhere. And if we see it as fan base and we understand it this way, maybe we don't see it in our own lives because we are privileged ourselves, but we understand it more through the mechanism of the NBA, just painting a picture and showing us exactly what unfairness and inequality, discrimination, privilege, all that shit is factored into this shit. And that's why I like to look at this as someone who is a social scientist who studied sociology in grad school. This is a very, very good example for people who may not totally understand how these mechanisms work in everyday society. You can see it through the NBA in this kind of shit, in this kind of way. Oh, yeah. Tom Duke's saying, let's go. Woo. Be proud, people. I love being the underdog. Bring it, NBA. I do too, Tom, because it's inevitable. In some ways, we're not an underdog. We are built to win. We win. We massage Ujiri's team. We are Nick Nurse's team. We have winners. We're a winning kind of culture, and we're going to overcome it. And we aren't built as an underdog, but we're billed as an underdog. And we'll come in there and we'll show our true stripes of, yeah, you think we're an underdog, motherfucker? We're alpha dog. We're going to come in here and we'll fuck your team up. Yeah. So let them have this thing of, let them slight us, say that we're not going to be in the playoffs, and we'll surprise them every time. We'll be like that submarine and just come up all of a sudden, boom. Well, we're here. It's the end of the season. Everybody's fucked up and we're rolling. Yeah, we're rolling. We're about to do some damage in the playoffs. And that's what I'm looking at real soon in the next week or two. This is what's going to be happening. I love it. Paul B saying undercutting Van Vliet going to halftime was fucked up. That was Derek White, and he was going out of bounds and he came up underneath him after a layup. Yeah. There's been a couple of plays, like getting back to that comment earlier. I think it was Skills talking about how the dirty physicality and stuff like that, somebody's going to get hurt and what is it going to take? Like that play earlier this season when that fucking Martin for Miami pushed Scotty into that lady with the beer and the camera. That was totally dirty and so dangerous that Scotty could have gotten seriously hurt on that play. Same thing with Fred last night, going out of bounds and getting undercut. And you saw where he landed. He landed off of the wood of the basketball court. He was laying on the concrete. He went so far out there. And yeah, that's fucked up. And it is dangerous. And God forbid anybody gets hurt because of some knuckleheaded, like, physical play from teams that are playing dirty. That is messed up. And then the refs don't do anything to and reinforce or try and stop it. It's like it's encouraged to a degree. Death 4K saying the excuses are coming out. Telling another year, like when we win the chip, but ESPN ranks us as the worst win ever because of circumstances. Yeah, I don't listen, there's no merit in all that. We got a championship. People discount that NBA championship we got, but we did it. We did it. And listen, you may not think we played a very good team in the finals, but I'll tell you what, those couple of rounds just before that, the Philadelphia and the Milwaukee rounds, those were good teams. And, that it's still Golden State and stuff like that. I hate people that discount our championship. So that's why we need to go get some more. And then they realize that's not a fluke and that's not bullshit. And that's why we're on a mission. We got to do this. We got to do this. But yeah, the excuses are going to come from these other teams, whether it's Miami's excuses about what's happening with them, Boston's excuses now that Robert Williams is out. We're going to hear a lot of bullshit excuses like, oh, well, if we had this person, motherfucker, there's only one thing, and it's called reality. And it's who shows up and who plays and who does what. What it could have, should have is all kinds of things in everybody's life. But it's who does the work, who shows up, and who does it. It's not, well, if we had this, we had that. Shut up. You sound stupid. Show up and then put in your best, and then we can say that. But if you don't even show up and bring your best, you have no leg to stand on. You brought who you brought, and that's that. It goes for Golden State, goes for Boston. I don't give a shit who it is, because we're showing up and we're playing hurt. We're trying and we're doing our best with half our roster at times. Like that fucking shit that happened in Cleveland earlier this year with 4 of our players and 4 G League players should have never happened. And did you hear us make a whole bunch of excuses or whine and cry about that too much? No, we didn't. We took the L and we kept going. And we got better, and we didn't fucking hang our heads it was fucked up. And maybe the day after we did say something about it, but we didn't hang on to it. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Fred VanVleet had a bad game, but came to play when it matters. Yes, Death 4K. I completely agree about this. He really did show up when it mattered and hit some really key threes at the time. Okay, I see that the email and the phone number are there. So hopefully you guys can see it also. Hopefully. Sue's saying, I've never used the phone number, so I don't know if it works. I've only ever emailed. The first time I emailed, I did get a response, but nothing so far from last night. It could be they have a lot of emails to answer, Sue, and you're just a little further down the queue. They will get to you, I'm sure, and they probably will, because they really try. And, sometimes if you're trying so hard to make it sound like you are doing something that you aren't, it's like, oh, thou dost protest too much, NBA, saying, oh, no, we're fair. No, we have to write everyone and tell them we're fair when they think we're not fair. And that'll make them think we're fair. Fuck that. Do it on the court. Do it in the game. Do it with your consistent calls. Don't do it at just give us lip service when we write you an email or call you and say you're fucked up. You say, no, we're not. We're real. We're very fair. We can see it now. We know you're helping Boston. You need to stop fucking helping Boston is what I'm saying right now. The number is just ringing so far. It may be ringing off the hook, Greg. It may be that they're inundated with so many calls today after that farce last night. Oh my gosh. And I bet you a bunch of the calls are coming from Canada right now. CC saying, yes, Scotty was showing his rookie frustration. He needs some OG tips on giving a robot face to the officials. I like that. A robot face. That's a great term. OG has a robot face. That's cool. Yeah, Scotty's still learning his rookie mistakes. For all of his poise and all of his really cool veteran stuff he already does, there are some things he's still got to learn as a rookie and get better about. And maybe the reacting to calls and certain things and stuff like that is part of it. But you know what? He's way far ahead. And if these are the little wrinkles we got to iron out with him, I'm really happy about him in all kinds of ways. He has been a godsend. He has been a fantastic rookie. In fact, I may think he's the greatest greatest Raptor rookie of all time. And I'm including every single guy we've ever had. I don't care if it's Vince Carter or anything. To me, Scotty Barnes is the greatest Raptor rookie of all time. That is what I think, just because of who he is and what he's done. And even if he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, there's so much he did at such a high level so quickly that I feel like that. That is what I will think to myself. Other people will argue Vince, maybe Chris Bosh, other stuff like that. But I'm going to think it's Scotty. That's what going forward. I'm going to say he's the greatest Raptor rookie of all time. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, OG could give Scotty some good tips, I'm sure. G's saying if refs are going to call the game like this bad as it sounds, Raps need to make the fouls count and go harder. Yeah, I agree with this. Actually, I really agree with this, G. Is like, look, I don't like these touch fouls, especially when they get continuation and they make the basket still. This is like the Oakley school of Hard Knocks. You're going to foul them, make sure they don't make the shot. Make sure you hold their arms. Hold them, hug them. Do whatever you have to do. You don't have to necessarily hurt them, but you definitely want to make sure they don't get a continuation and they get a three-point play. If you're going to foul them and make it count. That's what they used to say all the time. These guys, you can foul somebody, make it count. And you can't help it if they're going to give a brush, touch, contact foul and stuff like that. That sucks. But really make sure they don't try and make it. But then also you got to balance it with the new flagrant rules and not make sure that you're doing something that's so overt that it's really bad. You don't want to hurt anybody, but you definitely want to make the contact count so that they don't finish. That is a really big problem. I see sometimes we get bad fouls and they finish also. I hate that. So they really got to make sure they don't finish. That's the whole thing I'm saying on that. Chris comes saying another big win, but those refs are garbage. Wow, Big John Stud shout out. Yeah, let's go, Raps. I called double digits, but we'll take it. Yeah, you called double digits, Chris. I mean, honestly, that's what it should have been. It's just a couple of things. The refs, us taking them lightly. Coach for Boston had a really good game plan. They came out and punched us in the face. He had their players really playing at a high level for who they were. We got to give them credit. I'm not this kind of guy that will just say, yeah, they suck. They played at a very high level for the personnel that they had. They had a good game plan for us, and they were very successful with their game plan, especially with the rebounds. That is insane how well they did against us, keeping us off the glass with the way that we have been playing this year off the glass. We've been getting offensive rebounds like crazy. We could not do it last night. It was really bad. Paul B saying, remember when Siakam sweet chin music diced in the bubble? Yes. Oh my gosh. So much good memories and different stuff. Yeah, I kind of do remember that. Sue saying it, Greg. Yeah. Hey, email is probably the best way to contact them. You may get a response from one of Adam's assistants. I did last time. I'm so interested to see if you hear back. Write them. Yeah, everybody, if you want, we're talking about writing the NBA head office about how poor the officiating was last night. We have an email and a phone number that has been posted in there. I'm going to post it in the comments after this stream so you can find it real easy also. So if anybody wants to voice their opinion or talk about what happened, go ahead, go Jerky Boys style on them. I love that kind of stuff. Jerky Boys. You guys remember Jerky Boys? Oh, man, that's good stuff. All right, let's see. Alistair's here. Good to see you, Alistair, as always. We're going to win 7 straight and win it all pretty easily. Thad Young trade was genius. Him and Pascal were killing it. I like what you're saying, Alistair, and I think that you're right in some ways. Like, really, the game last night and the game tomorrow are the 2 toughest games we have going out. Sure, Philadelphia one more time is a little tough, but for the most part, these are the toughest games we have. And if we win Minnesota tomorrow night, that is really huge because that means we're going to get really up there. You know, think about it this way. If we were getting the kind of help from the refs that the Celtics get, we'd be a 50-win team right now. We would have over 50 wins as a team right now if we were getting the same fucking kind of officiating help the Celtics have been getting all year. If we were getting that kind of calls, biased that way, we would be a 50-win team right now and leading the East easily right now. Yes, I believe this that is how much they are propped up and helped by the refs, that their record is better because of the refs. And if we had that kind of treatment, we'd be a 50-win team, number 1 in the East right now. I believe this. Rank Scrub. Oh, good to see you again. I hadn't seen you in a little bit. I feel like we focus too much on starting offensive sets behind the 3-point line, spread out. I prefer to hammer the paint because you can grind into the D. Yeah, this is kind of going along what Greg and I have been saying too, is like they played too much outside. They were too tentative. They didn't do enough stuff on the offensive end that I liked. And in some ways, we were lucky we won last night because we did not have a good effort on the offensive end. We were missing free throws. And also, they had open shots at the end that could have fucked us up. That Marcus Smart 3 at the end of the game could have totally fucked us up. So there was some luck involved in us actually getting the W also last night. I hate that. It shouldn't have even been like that. That's part of the reason why I'm so pissed this morning is that I don't like being that stressed out and having it that close, and that it could have, one of those shots goes down for Boston late in the game. This game's totally different what happened last night. And thank God we won. I'll say that. I will say that. Let's see. Greg saying, I'll give it a shot today and do some digging just for shits and giggles. Yeah, totally. Let's get on their case. We said we'd do this earlier this season when Sue did this the first time earlier this season, that we will try this again if this shit happens again. And I guess that bat signal's up in the sky. It's time to go do this again. And Sue's already on it. She went and already did it. She did it last night right after the game. I love you, Sue, for it. Let's see. Alistair saying Fred slows the offense. He should let Pascal bring it up and play off ball. We're cold when he does that. Yeah, I agree that in some ways these guys aren't injecting our offense into the paint fast enough. It goes back to my comments just a little earlier about keeping them on their heels. That if we walk the ball up or something like that, and the other thing that happened last night that I didn't like, and I knew this was going to happen at some point. Sure, we've been getting away with playing point forward, Scotty and Pascal bringing the ball up the court, but we saw what happens with Scotty with that one play where Smart knocked the ball out of his hands and then Scotty fouled him afterwards. That is a thing that we could be vulnerable to that I haven't liked partly about the point forward stuff we've been doing. That Pascal's better because he has more experience and stuff like that. He'll protect it better. But Scotty can really be vulnerable to being picked by a very gritty defensive player like Marcus Smart like that, who gets low. And it showed at that moment. And I've been worried about this all year. There's a couple of things I've been like, all right, fundamentally, we're doing this and it's not necessarily good. Like Scotty bringing the ball up the court in certain ways. He's kind of lackadaisical at some points, and he is ripe for the picking. And that showed in that moment. And the other thing that I've been worried about, and this happened once, it was maybe 10, 15 games ago. It was a while ago. But the way that they pass the ball back and forth when they're coming across the half line is very risky and dangerous. I've seen them have to almost just step over the half court line and just barely miss a back court because the guy who's already across and he's passing over to a guy who's just coming across the line behind him. That's very risky. And they've had a couple calls where they could have gotten a back court. They didn't. And they did get called for it once. I saw them get called for it once at one point in the season. But both those things have been fundamental things that I'm worried about with the Raptors that are vulnerable, where we can get a turnover, a real stupid turnover, because the way they pass it near the half court line, or with a big guy like Scotty bringing the ball up the court, a small, really good defender can pick his pocket. And we need to watch out for that also. So, yeah, was it Pritchard or was it Smart? Hang on, I'll keep going. Raymond Jacobs saying, haha, Ron Jeremy, did anyone order a pizza? Bow, chicka, bow, wow. Big sausage pizza. Bow, chicka, bow, wow. This Ron Jeremy motif's not going to go away. I'm going to tell you that right now. Paul B is saying it was Pritchard underneath. Was it Pritchard underneath? I don't know which play we're talking about, Paul. The one play I was talking about was the Grant Williams play where he threw his back into Pascal and got a foul called that place and stuff like that. Greg saying, Lex, give us your thoughts on the T-Wolves. Great young team who are clicking under Chris Finch. Yeah, well, I'll do the work tonight and we'll have the preview tomorrow. But just off the top of my head right now, I mean, listen, they're streaking. They're a hot team right now. They did lose to the Celtics on Sunday night. We beat them just before the All-Star break in a pretty close game. That was a good win, that win over the Timberwolves at that point, because we'd been sliding and we needed a win going into the All-Star break and we were in bad shape. And I'm really glad that happened. And there was some cool stuff with Gary Trent Sr. sitting at courtside, and just the way that game went was really awesome. That was a great game the first time we played the Timberwolves. Now, this one, hopefully it'll be similar, because it will be similar personnel and stuff like that. In fact, maybe we'll have guys back that we didn't have for that game. I don't know if OG played in that Minnesota game, or maybe that was the last game that he played in before he got hurt. But yeah, Chris Finch, I still kind of hate that guy just for how he did us and took that job. I understand why he went and took it, but he really fucked us up in the Tampa year for our assistant coaches. And it really hurt Nick Nurse personally that he just took off on us, because he was kind of really close friends with him. But they're also kind of frenemies. You can tell, like, Finch was always kind of against him in their coaching history, whether it's overseas, different places, but they also have a lot of respect, and they're always like, well, maybe we need to work together. But really, they're actually kind of more like frenemies. They like, they've been adversaries at many stages in their coaching careers in different places. So I don't know. He's doing a good job. They're an up and coming team. But once again, it's the kind of thing where the NBA is not going to help them because of their market. And, they're as good as Cat is, and to a degree. I mean, Anthony Edwards is a good player, but to me, he's kind of like a baller. He's not necessarily fundamentally sound. And I also wonder about his aptitude. He seemed like really engrossed with somebody getting their head shaved courtside the other day. And I'm like, what is this guy's IQ right now? I'm like wondering that, because he's like really like, you've never seen somebody get their head shaved or something like that. Or something. I don't know. Anyway, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but he's definitely not the kind of like aptitude or smartness that some of our guys has. Sometimes you're just a really talented player, but you're not very bright. And I like that our guys are very talented, but they're also bright. And I would say that maybe about Anthony Edwards, but we'll see. I'll look at them again and see where they're at right now, specifically tonight. And then we'll do the preview tomorrow. But they're a good team, and they're not really a top Western team, but they're dangerous. They're dangerous. They're in the play-in, and they're the kind of team that could put the Lakers out for sure. And I love that. So Paul B saying Boucher needs to get DX shirts for the team, and we need to give everyone the business until we get calls. Yes, on Hustle Play, the one with Thad Young that came out on Sunday, he got a bunch of shirts, and he had the Degeneration X shirt, and he was like, suck it, all that stuff. Yeah, Chris is badass. I love that he loves Dennis Rodman. I love that he loves wrestling. Him and I have a lot in common. I love Dennis Rodman too, and I am a big wrestling fan. I'm not a DX guy though. And he said he was a Shawn Michaels mark, which really surprised me, being from Montreal with the whole Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart thing. And, most of us up here in this side of the border are Bret Hart people. And it's the Americans that are more Shawn Michaels because of the whole USA versus Canada angle they did, where Shawn took the Canadian flag and he put it up his nose like a tissue in the ring. And Canadians usually hate Shawn Michaels, and we love Bret Hart, and it's vice versa. People in the States hate Bret Hart, but Chris Boucher is a Shawn Michaels guy apparently. So, hey, whatever. That's fine. But I'm a Bret Hart guy myself. We love Bret Hart here. in my house. Oh, yeah. But yeah, that was a fun hustle play, and it's cool to see him talk about wrestling a little bit too. CC saying, how can anyone comment on other championships versus the bubble games and the Lakers Mickey Mouse ring? Oh my gosh, CC. Yes. And also on the download, this whole thing about players being injured in the finals is every single year. Every single year. Lakers won championships in the 80s when Boston had guys hurt, and vice versa. Boston won championships when Lakers were hurt. It's just a part of the war of attrition that the long marathon grind of the NBA season is. And any motherfucker who keeps saying, well, if we had this and had that, these are fans. The players don't do this shit. Although Draymond was doing this shit to Fred when he had him on his podcast earlier this season. Well, if we had these guys, we would have beat y'all. He's like, whatever, shut the fuck up. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. You guys didn't show up. You weren't healthy enough. You weren't strong enough to all be there at that time when it mattered. And you're exactly right, CC. They have no legs to stand on, because if any championship in like the last 30 or 40 years should be dubious, it's the bubble championship. That particular championship is probably the most tainted asterisk championship of any of the recent championships in the modern era. And that Raptors are nowhere near on that ranking. If people want to rank the championships in this kind of category, which is a fucked up bullshit ranking category list to make anyway, they need to put that Lakers championship that they just won at number one, because that's the fishiest one for sure, especially since they were practicing when nobody else was. That's the main one right there. And the fact that they kept the thing going just to help the Lakers get one more ring for LeBron and that kind of shit. It was all fishy and fucked up. Oh my gosh, you're exactly right, CC, and thank you for bringing that up. Paul B saying that bubble ring should have been ours. That was our championship defending season, 15-game win streak, etc. I don't discount it. You know, in some ways, I don't discount our season that year. We lost Kawhi. We did way better than anybody thought we would do. And, you know, it really was that close between us and Boston. It could have gone either way. And maybe we would have beat Miami. Maybe we would have gone on and beat the Lakers. So, yeah, I agree with what Paul's saying to a degree, that could have been our stuff. Like if, you know, a couple of things had happened a little bit better. Maybe there's some health. Maybe if Pascal had not loafed it and not worked out during the pandemic when it first started, if he had stayed in his place, like Serge, like Terrence Davis, like a lot of the other Raptors were working out on their IG. I saw them working out, and Pascal didn't do jack shit. He sat at home and he just watched a bunch of TV, and he got out of bad shape. And he came in the bubble and looked bad, and that really set us back, and that is part of it. I know that Pascal will never do things the same way ever again, because he learned his lesson. And I think that he specifically personally understands how much he impacted how we did in the bubble playoffs, that he will always be prepared. And in fact, we saw it in the last offseason. He was hurt, had surgery. He was rehabbing from surgery, but he was still simultaneously staying in game shape and improving his game even in the offseason, so that when he got ready and was healthy and able to come back, he was ready right away. And he really was. He had a little bit of adjustment time, and he wasn't as good in the beginning. He had an off night, good night, off night. But now, you know, we see. And that's the thing. He learned, and he became a better vet and more mature and understanding of it all. And I love that he's so young and figuring a lot of that stuff out. He won't let those kind of opportunities happen like that again. He won't mess up like that again. I know he won't. Rank Scrub saying Raptors G League is light years ahead of their competition. Eventually, the CEBL will be as good for finding prospects as other teams, G League's orgs. NBA has trouble making talent shine outside of Toronto. Yeah, I mean, I was joking this weekend that maybe we should have had the 905 play the Indiana Pacers on Saturday and just give our whole team the night off, and we probably would have beat them. Like if we brought the 905 to the Air Canada Center on Saturday night and they had played against the Pacers, we probably would have won that game still. And like it may have been close, but I think we would have beaten that Pacers team. And, you know, Reggie Perry got called up again yesterday. He's on the Portland Trailblazers again, all of a sudden on another 10-day contract. You know, they're rolling. They play tonight, y'all. They're playing Detroit's G League team tonight. So watch Raptors basketball every night this week. We got Raptors Monday, G League on Tuesday, Raptors Wednesday, G League on Thursday, Raptors on Friday. So all 5 days this week, you got a Raptor game to watch. And tonight is G League against Detroit's G League team. And we should kick their ass. And go watch Justin kick some ass. He's pissed off. You're going to see Justin drop another 40 piece tonight. Watch. All right, let's keep going. Death 4K, you're right. They had a great game plan, team up with the refs, flopping left and right, and dive in front of our stars, getting them injured. Yeah, I mean, they did really do a good job of focusing on boxing out, on really positioning. They had that big fuck Cornet out there doing some things. Tice is annoying, obviously, but they really did. They boxed us out. We were not getting offensive rebounds. And also part of it was the way they were shooting. They were shooting a lot of threes, and there were a lot of long rebounds, and we weren't doing as well on the defensive rebounds, too. They seemed to be finding a lot of their own shots that they missed because they were coming long off the iron and stuff like that. But yeah, there was a team game plan for the Boston Celtics. Obviously, there was a team game plan for the refs also. We can't discount that for sure. And getting back to Rank Scrubs thing about the CBL, I believe what you're saying, that we're going to see this league become more important for feeding talent to the NBA in different ways for sure. Death 4K is also saying, I don't think it's luck. We won, we battled. Smart and Grant Williams are not clutch to get game-tying shots winners. I looked at Celtics Reddit. They are furious Williams did not get closeout call. Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of luck. It's like they say with everything. To win, you need skill, you need effort, and you need a little bit of luck. And there was a little bit of luck there. And Smart has hit really big, clutch, important shots. That bubble series, he was hitting clutch, important threes against us. So he is capable of it, but he isn't as likely. That's for sure. I think you're right. But yeah, those aren't the best superstars for the Celtics to try and close out and win a game for sure. And that's part of the reason why we really needed to win that game last night. And Celtics Reddit, oh my gosh, I can't believe what kind of a hellscape that might be. I'm never going to venture in there. There's no way I'm getting on. I don't get on Reddit in general. Definitely not going to get on Celtics Reddit. I'm sure that there's all kinds of weird toxicity and weirdness in there, all kinds of racism, all kinds of fucked up shit being said in there. Jubstown saying at Rank Scrub, it totally is ranked, and it's emulating our NBA roster, not just in terms of the playbook, but also the player types and the small ball. 905 is the child prodigy NBA affiliate. Yeah. I mean, if any of the teams in the G League are ready to compete with some NBA teams, I would bet our G League team is the team. Them and maybe the Vipers on the other side. Was it Grand River Vipers or whatever, the number one team on the West side? It's I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about with the ranking there, Greg, but yeah, our 905 team is a creme de la creme of the G League for sure. Paul B saying, I'm talking about Pritchard going under Fred VanVleet in the final seconds of halftime. Oh, yeah. Dirty. He's very dirty. He should have had way more than 2 fouls. DJ Russ, 416. Good to see you here again. From Boston Timberwolves, from Smart to Patrick Beverly, 2 of the dirtiest players in the league. Yeah. So, yeah, he's already calling the shot for tomorrow night. We got to watch out. We traded Marcus Smart for Patrick Beverly and the Timberwolves and what's going on with this. I expect Gary to have a big game tomorrow night because he had a big game against the Timberwolves in Minnesota. I expect him to do it again tonight. And part of it is that hometown thing, that his family is based in Minnesota and that, he wants to get up and play big against them. So I really hope Gary kicks their ass is what I'm saying. CC is saying Cat has been negatively influenced by Patrick Beverly. Yeah, he's a bad influence. I could see that. Pat Beverly is something else, isn't he? Paul B saying HBK was my guy, the Iron Man match. Love playing WWF Raw on my Game Boy. Chris knows what's up. I hate Shawn Michaels for so many different reasons. I hate him for the Canadian flag thing. I hate him for the screw job. I hate him for being an asshole behind the scenes and hurting other guys' careers with the click. I hate him for being a drug alcoholic asshole who was like really toxic person for most of the time that he was in his heyday. I don't celebrate him like everybody else. I don't have an affinity for him for the HBK, like being the Heartbreak Kid before the DEX days or any of that kind of stuff. So I absolutely hate him. And even in his like retirement and him being more like Christian and sober now, I still hate him. So I'm not with you on this. I can't be with you on this. I've never liked Shawn Michaels. Actually, I did like Shawn Michaels in the 80s. I liked Shawn Michaels in the AWA. I liked Shawn Michaels when he was with Marty Jannetty. They were the Midnight Rockers. And when he was starting out, I love the stuff that he did in early days in Texas. When he was first starting out and he was wrestling people like Bruiser Brody and stuff like that. The really early Shawn Michaels career stuff is fascinating to me. And I did like him then. I hated him as soon as he kicked Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window. That was when I hated him, was when he broke that window and he broke up with Jannetty. I loved him as the Rockers. But yeah, after that, I hated him ever since after that. And maybe that's just me being a mark and like falling for him and being a heel and stuff like that. So, But yeah, that's that. I got to remember, I did like Shawn Michaels very early in his career. So yeah. But it's just apples and oranges. We all like different people. Some people are Brett people. Some people are Sean people. Some people are Beatles people. Some people are Stones people. And I'm a Brett person. That's just what it is. Samson Ironman. Good to see another new name. We're here every morning, every day. Raptors, talking Raptors, whatever's going on with them day to day, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Some point I'll show up live and do the live stream. You can talk to me every day. Let's see. Is it true that Boston didn't have 4 of their starters last night because they aren't vaccinated? They weren't even in the country. If that's the case, I hope we play Boston in the playoffs. No, it's not true. It's been debunked. Because to think about it, we played them already in Toronto earlier this season and they came and they played then. So Al Horford's out for personal reasons. Obviously, Robert Williams tore his meniscus against Minnesota on Sunday night. And then they decided to rest both Tatum and Brown because they're both a little bit banged up like Fred and Gary Trent. And they were calculating that because it was the second night of the back-to-back. And these motherfuckers didn't even want to get on a plane and come to Canada. So they stayed in Boston. They didn't even come through customs or do anything, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And it wasn't because they weren't vaccinated. It's because they're lazy and they wanted to go rest is what it was why. And Clink's saying, yep, I guess I am better pack the whole jet next time because all that matters is the dub. Yeah, they're gonna need everybody. If they had just one of their main superstar guys, they probably would have sealed the deal and won the game last night. If they just had Tatum or Brown, they probably would have won that game, would have been able to do it. But then again, and you could say woulda, coulda, shoulda, we may have played at a more elevated, more intense pace, just having their presence out there. So it's hard to say. OG could have gotten really tight on whichever one showed up and really made it hard for them. And they may have actually been a detriment to the team because they may have been trying to focus and force the game through them. And we may have been just really successful at stopping either Tatum or Brown if they had showed up. So it's what it could have, should have. Even if Celtic fans arguing that and saying that kind of stuff, that's the kind of thing you could say. Well, we don't know because we may have prepared and showed up in a different energy, seeing your top guys against us on the other side. So that's a woulda, coulda, shoulda right there. Anselm's here. Good to see you, Ansem. Always my friend. Lex, I'm on my lunch break. I'll check out your show later. Drop some likes, people. Next to NBA Chef, this is the best channel on YouTube. Thanks, Ansem. You're a badass. Thank you for fist bump. Boom. Yeah, get back to that work and just have a good time, man, and catch me later on your own time. Once again, if you're not watching me live, watch me at 1.5 speed or 1.25 speed. Paul B saying he's watching me at 1.75 speed. I don't understand how you can understand what I'm saying because I'm already talking real fast in real time. And then if you just put me at 1.25 speed, it's really fast. And then 1.5 speed is really fast. But 1.575 speed, that's really fast, Paul. But yeah, I'm just saying, if you want to save some time, and I know my streams are long, we're already over 2 hours, put me on at 1.25 speed or 1.50 speed. No, I'm just kidding. I just made it that just for fun. So funny. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, guys. Andrew saying, Alexi, at this rate, you're going to be doing 4-hour streams during the playoffs. That might be the case, Andrew. Who knows? I don't know. We're going to have to figure this out. I want to get to every single person's comments, and I want to make sure you guys are all heard. And that's the most important thing to me. So if you guys comment, I'll be here all day. It's just how much you want to put in front of me. I'll keep going. Judgetown saying at Anselm, dude, I laugh way more and laugh now than I have figured out. Turning in here is good for my attitude. Thanks, Greg. Honestly, seriously, this is part of my battle is I want to shine the light. I want us to be happy. I want us to have fun. I want us to be united. I saw too much infighting in the Raptor fan nation, too much of like dick measuring competitions. Like, oh, you're not, I'm more of a Raptor fan than you are. I was like, fuck all this shit. We're all Raptor fans. We're all for real. And we're all with them. It's the people that are insecure and they have to be like, well, I did this. Oh, it was this. Oh, it was this. And it's like, fuck all this shit. Let's just be happy being a family together and no more infighting amongst each other. There's no reason for us to put each other down or say this about each other, stuff like that. And like, honestly, we got to have that positive background for our team and be that force for them behind the scenes because it's working. I honestly see changes in this season with how our fan nation is behaving in a very tumultuous season of development that's up and down. We've had really low points. We've had really high points, and our fan base isn't being so or to the extremes. We got to stay measured and focused. If we can mirror the way the players act, and the season is a game to game, take it, forget about it, short memory, go to the next one. That would be really good for our fan nation too. And that's the stuff, the chicken littling, all that kind of stuff, the negativity, the pessimism, the trade speculation, all this kind of stuff. I'm just saying, I'm trying to help shape our fan nation as much as I can through this channel and this avenue. And I feel like there's some real good gains that have been happening this season. I'm really happy about it. I see that we're coming more together as a whole and being more like the Celtics fan nation, all for one, one for all. We got to be like them too, because there was too much infighting in our own fans for the last few years. And I hate it. There's like this hate Pascal camp and stand up for Pascal camp, and they're fighting and all this kind of stuff. There shouldn't be any of that kind of shit. Why the fuck is there a hate Pascal camp in the first place? That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, this is really good. And I'm glad to hear that, Greg. If I'm having it, you're happier, you're laughing more in your life just because it's things that are happening here. It's like, that's fantastic. I love that. That's awesome. Brian, good to see Brian. I hadn't seen you a bit. Celtics fans are trashing Raptors fans for being happy about a 3-point win in overtime, saying that they aren't worried since they almost beat us with their scrubs, not acknowledging the help from the refs, of course. Yeah, I'm not going to listen to anything the Celtics fan. And if you guys do engage any Celtics fans in the next couple of days, just maybe echo some of the things we've said here, that you're getting propped up. How many, say something like, you know what, if we got the favoritism from the refs like you do, we'd be a 50-win team right now, and we'd be number one in the Eastern Conference, you bastards. That's what I would say to them if they come to me right now. If we were getting the same kind of calls and shit, y'all are being propped up by the NBA. And you know that's true, Boston fan. You come here and listen to me today. You hear me say this right now, you know you're being propped up by the NBA and they're refereeing. You know you are. So don't even get it twisted. And you know what? We're not joyous about this win last night. We're not like, woo, we won. Woo. No, none of us are like this. We hate that we won this way. We wanted to dominate y'all's ass so we could talk major trash today. I don't feel like I can talk major trash about y'all today. I was really hoping I would be able to, but I don't feel like that. That was too close. It was too fucked up. And I can't be like that today. I wish I could have been, because I was really hoping I would be able to be all over y'all today, but I couldn't because of the way it went down. So yeah, whatever they're saying is whatever. Paul B saying HBK versus Undertaker at WrestleMania. Those two fights, when Undertaker leapt over the ring, that shit was crazy. See, I have windows of wrestling that I did not watch or pay attention to. And it's basically after WrestleMania 18 with the Hogan and the Rock and the plane ride from hell, I stopped watching wrestling. So I missed all those HBK Undertaker matches in the late 2000s. I don't give a shit about all those. And then like also, you know what I did see? I saw that match against Hogan where he oversold, like that really bad match where Shawn Michaels was flopping around like a fish and going all over the place. And I lost a lot of respect for him from that match too. But yeah, I heard that they had some good matches, like Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. But I left wrestling. I stopped watching it in 2004. I was just like, this is so stupid. And it's a monopoly. The quality and everything's gone now that WCW is gone. And I just turned it off. Yeah. Let's see. Paul B saying, sorry, my license to ill side was coming out. That shit was crazy. Yeah, I got to remember, Paul B's a B-boy. Paul's Boutique, baby. Yeah, but Beastie Boys. Yes, rest in peace, MCA. Oh, my gosh. Miss you every day. Samson Ironman says, okay, thanks. Raymond Jacob saying, okay, laugh out loud. Oh, shit. All right, here we go, Raymond Jacob. Don't fucking talk about my wife. Don't fucking talk about my wife. There you go. Impression equals Will Smith at the Oscars. There you go. Was that pretty good? Don't fucking talk about my wife. Man, that was not a work. That was a shoot. I'm going to say that right now. If you guys know the wrestling terminologies, that was not planned. That was not a stunt. That was real. That was real shit that happened that night. I'm going to tell you right now, from my expert opinion, watching wrestling my whole life and understanding what a work and a shoot is, that was a shoot. That was legitimate. He connected and he hit. And people are saying, why didn't Chris Rock put his arms up to block him? Because he didn't expect him to hit him. He came right up at him. He's like, what is going on here? And like good kudos to Chris Rock for keep on going. He was real flustered after that. There could have been all kinds of different things. And people are saying, why didn't the security come and stop him? That's what makes me think that it was like planned and stuff like that. Well, that's because they don't expect this kind of shit to happen from the front of the stage and coming in. They expect maybe somebody coming from the side or something like that, but they didn't know what he was going to do. And also he was kind of the guest of honor for that Oscars. And they're like, oh, Will's probably going to come up and hug him or something. They didn't know what he was going to do. He came up there and jacked him in the face. So it's like, to me, it's obviously a shoot. There's no way that they worked that. And like, why would Will Smith do this on purpose? He's really hurt his career because of what he did the other night. There's no reason why he would do that on purpose. It was just he lost his temper, and he showed that he does not have a certain level of maturity at his age, even now, with all of his accolades and everything. It's crazy. But Raymond, I'm glad you did the impression trick. I'm not going to say this. I don't want to let too many people know about what you just did. But yes, there is a little secret thing about this channel. If you write the word impression and equals and you write something, I will do my impression of it. I did Elvis yesterday for Graham, and I'll do impressions here. He wanted me to do Will Smith at the Oscars. There we go. Clink saying at Brian, they only get 5 on the court at a time, and any of our boys can hustle, play D, and contribute while running for 48 minutes. Bring it. Yeah, the Celtics fans are gonna talk all this shit, and they let them have an overinflated sense of how good they are. They don't they're talking so much hot air at this point with Robert Williams out. They're really in trouble. Seriously. This is the thing. We didn't put all our eggs in one basket. So if one of our guys is out, God forbid any of them, we don't have too much of a letdown because we have so many good core players that do different things. Other teams, they lose one key guy. They're in big trouble. Like Kevin Durant out on the Nets, big trouble, So Robert Williams is a particular important player for the Boston. They're in big trouble because of this. They're not going to make a deep playoff run without Robert Williams III. I'm sorry, Boston, you're delusional if you think you're going to win a championship with Robert Williams' injury that just happened the last 2 days. You're not getting it. And that's why they're kind of a little more saltier and aggressive out there, is because they know they're in trouble. And they may be a little bit more talking out of their ass, whereas they were more comfortable and feeling like they're cruising towards good things a couple of days ago. But now their center's out. No, they're going to be a little bit like a hurt dog and be like, well, you couldn't do this if we had Tatum and Brown. They're going to be like that for sure, because they know their time's in trouble. They're in trouble now for sure. Alistair saying Pascal is better than Jason. I can't wait to see him perform him in our rematch. I agree with that. I think that Pascal Siakam's better than Jason Tatum in some ways. I think Jason Tatum is kind of a punk. Like, honestly, here's a little bit of an ego on him that's weird in a way. I still think there's an underlying rivalry on that team between him and Jaylen Brown that isn't totally healthy. Let's just put it that way. And that there's a little bit of an ego thing with Jason Tatum in particular. Like some of the shit he was saying about not being included on something and getting hurt by that, or saying that he wasn't going to get some money because of this season. You need to shut up, bro. You really need to shut up and be more like Pascal Siakam, a real pro. And I'd take Pascal. If I had to choose which player I wanted on my team, I'm picking Pascal. I don't want Jason Tatum on my team. I'd much rather have Pascal Siakam on my roster. That's just the truth. And people may laugh at me like, you want Pascal Siakam over Jason Tatum? You're crazy. No, motherfucker. You've seen how he puts people in super spin cycles. Matt Devlin's calling him Pascal All-NBA Siakam. You just don't recognize, but you will see. You will see the reality when the court and the events unfold in front of you in the game, what Pascal Siakam is doing and what a force he is. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Cheers to you, Samson. Good to see you. I hope you like that Will Smith slap, Raymond. I'm guessing that's what y'all are laughing about. Andrew's also saying, hopefully we tilted the Celtics and send them into a tailspin. I could see them going on a bad streak now. Yeah, this is completely true. We really fucked up their streak momentum. They had a streak. And this injury, that doesn't mean that they could continue to lose now. That they may have this big time effort from their bench guys, but is that sustainable? Do you really expect them to come out every night and play at that kind of level against teams? No, I don't. In some ways, they're not going to be sustainable for this kind of stuff. Well, they'll get Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown back and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I hope what you're saying is true, Andrew, that we can see them kind of go into a little mini tailspin right now. Like I said, they had that number 1 spot at the end of the night and Sunday, but they lost it at the end of the night on Monday. And I love that. They're down at 4th. And that, in a way, is so much sweeter than any of this bullshit. I don't give a shit about winning in overtime by 3 points. I love that we put them out at number 1. I love that we ended a win streak. And I love that Boston fans, even though, they're feeling like all high and mighty for the last month or so, they're worried and they're panicking now. They're panicking now, and they're really worried about their playoffs and what's going to happen to them now. Oh, yeah. Andrew's saying Pascal Siakam equals NBA champion. Oh, this is a perfect delineation. Right here, Pascal Siakam equals NBA champion. Jason Tatum equals NBA player. Yes, who's a champion and who is not in that situation? Pascal Siakam's got the ring, baby. And that's all we need to say right there. Raymond Jacobs saying, I hope after Fred gets surgery, he levels up like Pascal after surgery. Yeah, that's quite possible. That it sucks that Fred's hurt like this. And I know it's frustrating to him. There's so much he wants to do to help us right now, but maybe the body is just not willing. And hopefully, that could be awesome. What you just said right there, Raymond. And Greg saying, mic drop at Andrew, just look cool and walk away. Yeah, that's all we got to do. All right, guys, I'll go over the box score just a little bit real quick and the team stats, and then we'll wrap up. We'll try and wrap up in time. Well, it is 2.5 right now. All right, yeah, we outshot them, got more shots, which was perfect. We ended up catching up on them in three-pointers by the end of the game. They were really outshooting us at three-pointers in the first half, which was bad. The free throws ended up being pretty equal for misses. We missed 5. They missed 6, which is fantastic. Both shot around 70-something%. They out-rebounded us by 6 rebounds, and we both got the same amount of offensive rebounds by the end of the game, which is we should have dominated them there. I wish our assists had been better. We weren't sharing the ball and playing off each other well enough last night, but the hustle stats, fantastic. 11 steals, 10 blocks, and they had only 12 hustle stats, 5 steals, 7 blocks. That's really good. We took care of the ball really well. We got 26 points off their 18 turnovers. 24 points on the fast break, 66 points in the paint. And then once again, the fouls, 15 fouls called on them, 28 fouls called on us. Very egregiously fucked up, NBA. I'm going to say that right now. And I won't even look at their stats and stuff like that, whatever the fuck they did. But on our side, Pascal, good job leading the team. And then we had other guys step up and get the double digits as the game went on. OG, Scotty, Fred, Gary, Thad, all double digits. Chris had an off night, did not show up in the second half because we didn't use him. But he was just not fitting into the style of the game last night, I guess. And, Precious only getting 7 points and how much he's been contributing to us as a scorer recently, that really tells also how much we struggled. So, yeah, let's see. What are you guys saying? Alistair saying Boston's dropped the fourth like an old elevator, like a bag of dirt. I love it. All right, guys, let's go, Raptors Fan Nation. Thanks again for being here with me. So much fun. You guys actually made me feel better over the course of 2.5 hours. I was so pissed off, and it's like, I hate this game. But after talking it out with you guys, I'm actually in a place where like, yeah, all right, motherfuckers, we won. We got the W. That's all that matters. Let Celtic fan talk all the shit they want. Don't listen to them, whatever. They're going to say what shit. They're worried. That's what's going on. They're worried. So tomorrow, preview for the Minnesota game. I'll be here around the normal time. I really, really appreciate y'all with all the likes and all the views and everything right now and sharing me or subscribing and everything. You guys really are making things start to build here, and I really appreciate it, especially you, Greg. I really appreciate the stuff you're doing for me on the side here. It's really nice of you. And like Sue said, call them, write an email to the NBA head office, and let them know exactly how we feel about how the NBA's officials treat the Boston Celtics. I highly encourage everyone. This is how we do it in politics. You write your congressman. Well, let's write the NBA head office and put some pressure on them to understand that we're on to them for what they're doing. Let's see. Greg saying, like babies from Michael Jackson's hands in an alternate universe. Is that fucked up that I think that's funny somehow? Maybe just a little bit. I don't know if I'll get in on that with you. All right, y'all. Let's go. Let me do the impression one more time. Don't fucking talk about my wife. Don't you say my wife's name. Sorry, I didn't do that right.